Welcome back to the Comics Aficionados right here on Think Critical YouTube. Your Saturday morning delight is here. We're going to have a good time talking about all the fun things in comic books. We have Batman Day today. And Aaron, you're finally back. You weren't able to be on screen last week. We couldn't even do the Geek Fix because you had dental surgery?
Yeah, I had dental surgery. I broke a tooth, and then like it got it's like, okay, well, it's whatever, it's broken, it's fine. I'll get it checked out when I get home. But then like I started to get like an abscess, and yeah, they had to go in, and they had to there wasn't enough tooth left to really like grab onto, so they had to go in, they had to cut it out. And so on Wednesday, like my face was all swollen, and I was talking like this. So it would have been like it would have been really weird to be on on the Geek Fix and spend the whole time going like, we're she a great big fat person. That's what it sounded like.
I wouldn't mind doing a fucking podcast with Yosemite Sam.
Or with me doing like Buffalo Bill, it's like, we're lotion in the basket.
But you're doing better?
I'm doing much better, yes.
Man, so how did you break your tooth? Did you like hit a pitted olive or something?
No, I'll tell you, when you get old, if you've if you're of a certain age, they used to fill your teeth with mercury, and so you'll have a filling, and the filling will still be good, but like eventually your tooth will crack around the filling, and like a piece of it will break away while you're just innocently eating something.
Were you eating like the bones and all? What did you eat?
No, I was eating a piece of chicken of all things, and it wasn't even tough chicken.
It was delicious.
All of a sudden, I was like, "Well, that's weird." And I was like, the chicken has a bone in it, and then I'm like, "Oh, that's a piece of my tooth. That's not good."
Bad. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah, I'm doing well.
You have a dope shirt on there, dude.
Yeah, like I get asked about this one all the time. People are like, "Where'd you get that shirt?" And I'm like, "Pretty sure it's a graffiti design shirt, and they're out of business now, so I don't know if we'll ever see it again." But
I remember that cover came out, everyone lost their minds, and they did like 8 versions with like inverted colors and different schemes and stuff.
Yeah, it was a rare hit, from Marvel, and it had nothing to do with the comic inside, just had everything to do with that cover.
As usual.
Doc got all of them, didn't you, dude?
I got a bunch of them. I got the first print, the second print variant, the third print. I don't know if I got the fourth.
Yeah. So that was a really good design.
I'm surprised that they haven't tried to milk it by saying that it's a different Spider-Man from a different universe, and it's a Gwen underneath. So it's so now we have to have this character from this pocket universe, another Spider-Man, because we don't have enough people with spider powers in the Marvel universe.
I'm surprised they haven't tried to do that with all the other Spider variants.
They did it with Venom.
Yeah, I know they do it with Venom, but I'm surprised they haven't done it with Spider-Boy and Silk and Spider-Gwen,
and Spider-Punk,
Aranya, Miles Morales.
Nobody knows how to catch lightning in a bottle and then quickly kill it like Marvel.
Superior Spidey.
So we've got a new guest on the Comics Aficionados. Not your first time being on the channel, John. You and I had a couple of podcasts back in the day. I believe one of them specifically talking about when Lunar and all those guys came online. But you are the man behind the 616 comic books. How you doing, buddy?
Supposedly, yes. Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Wes. I'm glad to be here with everybody. I was telling Wes, I probably watched every single fucking video he's put out in the last, 4 or 5 years. I don't catch all the aficionados. I try to watch the stream, so I know everybody here. I'm really, really happy and honored to be with you guys today. I'm a huge fan of the channel, huge fan of Wes. My first interaction with Wes years ago was he
debased me. He took me down.
Yeah,
took you to the woodshed, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, there was something about a Batman book. I think it was maybe in the Tom King run years ago, and I put a comment out there, and Wes very graciously interacted with me, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's not a total dick, so let's keep talking." And I had
spoiled the contents of the story in the title or the thumbnail, and perhaps both. He's like, if you ever spoil another Batman book, I'll never watch your channel again. I was like, all right, I'm going to hold the spoilers for the videos.
Yeah.
We'll allude to maybe something that might be going on there, but we don't want to give away the surprise.
Yeah, I mean, I was just really impressed with the interaction and the honesty and the feedback and everything. So I was like, all right, I'm going to keep watching this fucker. And, yeah, it's been great, man. You got a great channel, Wes. I think you do a tremendous service for the comic book industry. It's not easy. I'm sure you catch a lot of flack for what you do inside and from fans too. But you do a lot of good work for readers, especially. I mean, I'm in the business of producing, retailer exclusive variants. That's kind of what I laser focus in on. But make no mistake, the contents, the guts of the book, the inside is what fucking matters. The cover is just something purty on the outside, So you've done a tremendous service bringing awareness to the comic book community of a lack of story, essentially, and that being the major reason of the downfall of the industry, in my opinion, too.
Well, I thank you very much. And if people are like, hey, there's no spoilers because of John, and then there's no audio pops because of Dylan, because he also called me out. He's like, you can't have me having audio pops in the videos, dude. You better edit that. So, I'm good with the criticism. You can even come on the channel. Be straight. So,
yeah.
And speaking of Patrick Gleason, obviously, Aaron's got the big Patrick Gleason Spider-Man cover that he's very famous for. You have a Patrick Gleason cover this week for Batman or Deadpool Batman.
Oddly enough, I am a seller of comics, so I just happen to have it here. That's our Patrick Gleason Deadpool Batman cover. A lot of Easter eggs down in the bottom there. Fucking tremendous cover. Wes, me and you were talking about the fact that we love Patrick Gleason and the fact that he's been kind of, curb stomped out of comic books, kind of maybe by Marvel. I don't think their page rates really compensate enough to have really decent interior artists. So, yeah, people like Pat Gleason basically just doing covers now. And I think this guy's one of the best interior artists in the business. And it's a shame that he doesn't get more work. And he's kind of been sidelined recently. He did the webhead stuff. He had a really cool Wolverine #1 variant, and then I think there was a 1 in 100 where it was kind of like a side portrait of Wolverine, and you had like a layer of bone that kind of shone through. So it was kind of like the webhead variant where it was a side portrait variant cover layout, and then you have some kind of cool interior design. But it's kind of a shame that artists like Pat have gotten, I think, the short end of the stick because some of these large corporations, like I pay more to a lot of my cover artists that I work with and partner with than Marvel and DC do, and I know that for a fucking fact, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. When he signed his exclusive with Marvel and he kind of walked away from DC, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. Obviously, he's going to do some Spider-Man, but I was like, he's going to be on Captain America eventually. He's got to. And somehow it never happened.
No, and again, I think it's the page rates, Wes. We did have a little bit of a conversation, I think it was this week on Messenger about that. And that's why you see a lot of these big artists, they rotate and gravitate towards covers because they, I'm not sure exactly what the publishers pay, but, just to be transparent, I'm known on my Whatnot streams for being extraordinarily open and transparent. On average, I'll pay one of our artist friends about $1,000 for a cover. Sometimes more, sometimes a little bit less. It depends on what they're looking for, how complex it is. And, I talk to these artists about their compensation from the big two, and it's just shockingly not where the fuck it should be. And that's why you see the artists, instead of doing interiors for whatever the fuck they're getting paid these days, $75 a page or whatever, they'll do a cover for maybe $1,500, $2,000 because it's more worth their time. They can bang out more covers and make more money. And I think it's very hard these days for artists to make a living. They have to have a lot of side hustles and a lot of side projects just to pay their fucking mortgage.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's kind of where we are right now. But congratulations to you on all your success. You got a lot of great things, and we definitely appreciate you being part of the family, brother.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we should have some good times here. We were also missing Doc for what? 2 weeks, Doc? You decided to leave us?
Yeah, something like that. I just went to the beach. It was nice.
Tan lines, Doc. We want to see your tan lines.
Oh, they're
Please,
sexy.
dude.
Tan line reveal this stream.
Yeah.
We're on the street where Doc was wearing a banana hammock, so I don't want to see the tan line.
Yep. Oh, full banana hammock.
Just looking like Rob Reiner on the caught by the paparazzi. Just
Yep. Out on the beach, looking like some.
So you were down in the
European.
Carolinas?
Yeah, I went down to the Carolinas. It was weather was all right. It wasn't great. It just happened to be like the week that the weather was just really overcast. And there was only like probably 3 or 4 days out of the 8 that we were down there that it was sunny. The other days it was just kind of overcast. It was temperature wise, it was fine. But honestly, it was, I kept I have one of those Ring doorbells. So every once in a while it would go off at my house and I'd see what the weather, at least the sky looked like here. It was fucking clear. It was just absolutely crystal clear. Not a goddamn cloud in the sky. I'm like, this is some bullshit, man. We come down here and it's cloudy. At home, it's not a cloud in the sky. This is
Old.
fucking bullshit.
Weather.
I went to Washington and it was sunny and warm. I was like, why didn't I even bring a jacket? This is bullshit. I came up here expecting some cold.
Uh-huh.
Doc, did you bring some comic books with you? Did you at least enjoy the hobby?
I brought some books with me. I did buy some I did go hit up a couple of small comic shops while I was down there. Although, unfortunately, I got sick like near the end of the trip, so we were gonna go hit a couple more, and I just wasn't feeling up to it.
Did you find any good? Did you get any good gets? Did you get?
Actually, I picked up some newsstand editions of Uncanny that I was missing. That I had the directs, and one later direct edition that I realized that I had just the newsstand of. So, no, it wasn't bad. I only didn't spend a lot, like $40-$50.
John, is that how you do your comic book hobby? Do you differentiate between the newsstand edition and the direct market edition so you can have a complete run?
I had to stop doing that a while ago. I have OCD, so it started driving me nuts, and I had a hard time figuring out what the fuck do I have, what do I not have, and I'm not a good enough. There's just so many to keep track of that I do prefer the newsstand just because that's how I started collecting back in '82 at the 7-Eleven with my dad. I used to go in to get Slurpees with my dad, or I guess they were called Slurpees at 7-Eleven. And then, I saw the spinner rack and I'm like, Dad, what's that? And he's like, oh, son, let me show you about comics. And yeah, there it is. I saw the spinner rack Sully's got on there. But yeah, so I always prefer the newsstand because I think it's a tougher get, as far as condition. Because every single one in the 7-Eleven I went to had a big old crease right at the top staple because everyone would pull it down to see what the next issue in line was. Because at least in my 7-Eleven, the fuck that populated the newsstand, that guy didn't give a shit about comics at all. So he would just pop Batman and with the Avengers and with Spidey and Superman, and it would all be in the same row. And because I have OCD, I would go in and I would actually organize the spinner rack for the 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
I've done that.
A lot of us got that problem, don't we?
It's weird.
Yeah.
I'm a weirdo.
But we're glad to have you back, Doc. We missed you.
Well, thank you, sir. I am happy to be back. It's nice to be back, and really looking forward to the show today.
Should have a good time. We've also got Dylan and you and I are sworn enemies this week because my Chiefs are playing your Giants on, I guess, Sunday Night Football.
Yep, not a single win between us 2 weeks into the season, so someone's got to win. Although we almost tied against the Cowboys, so it'd be very funny if we tied against the Chiefs if neither of us get a win.
That would be the worst case scenario.
That would be, but that would be hilarious also. Just show how dog shit our teams are.
Like a tie would always be terrible, but to tie with your team after starting 0-2 would be even worse.
I mean, we have the same record. What do you mean?
I think it'd be beautiful poetic, justice if
I
you
kind
guys
of was
tied.
tied now, just to take you down a level. Thinking you're so far above the Giants when you have the same record as us.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in there. Should be good times. Do you have any big videos come out this week? Did you review the Deadpool Batman?
I reviewed Deadpool Batman, and I also did a video on Iron Fist now that Danny Rand's back. So I got those 2 videos up this week.
Because you like the Iron Fist, even though it was Jason Lowe.
Yeah, surprisingly, it was good. Undead Iron Fist #1 was actually really good. I did not expect it, but it was good.
No songs in there.
No songs. It was just it was really just a straight like beat 'em up comic. It's just to the point. Danny Rand's back from the dead, and he's gotta expel these like things from Knull that possess people, and he's got to get to Rand Tower where the boss of them is. It's kind of like an arcade beat 'em up story. Like he's just got to go through New York and beat the tar out of these things on the way there. And it's like it was great. It was a great first issue. No idea if it'll keep up for the rest of the series. It's like a 5-6 issue miniseries, but the first issue stuck the landing. It was really good.
That's what I'm expecting. The through line of the Chiefs this week. We just got to get there and beat the tar out of these Giants.
So far, the only thing you beat the tar out of is your own players when Xavier Worthy got murdered on the first play of the season. So you guys have been very good at doing that to other teams.
We did that last year too. Patrick Mahomes is the one that put out Rashid Rice for the entire season when he.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I saw a meme where they said Patrick Mahomes looks like Darlene from Roseanne, and it is uncanny how much he looks like Darlene from Roseanne.
What's with all the Chiefs players wearing free 4 shirts? Rashid Rice almost killed someone going like 100 miles an hour in a car. And you guys are acting like he was like some innocent guy and didn't do anything bad, like free him. Oh, he got suspended for no. He accepted the suspension for almost killing people. And everyone's like, oh no. Chiefs are evil, dude. These guys, we gotta beat the evil Chiefs. Trying to free a guy that
this is the bad guys. I have no idea what you're
It's everything now that I've heard this story.
You don't know? Yeah, look up what Rashid Rice did, dude. He almost killed people. That's why he accepted the 4-game suspension. Because he's like, yeah, I'll accept that.
He didn't accept a 4-game suspension. It was 6 games.
6 games, whatever it was. Yeah, he accepted the suspension because
there's nothing in the story that says he almost killed people. It just said that he was speeding.
Yeah.
And driving recklessly.
Yeah, he almost did a Henry Ruggs. Yeah, he hit someone going over 100 miles an hour.
There's a difference between doing that on a highway and then going through a crosswalk.
If you're on the Autobahn, maybe, but still, you don't have any reaction time at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. Look at this guy making excuses
feels
for
like
his players.
some crazy. Well, I'm not making excuses. He shouldn't have done that. He got his suspension. He got what he deserved.
Should be in jail.
Yeah.
He's going to be in jail. He got sentenced to 30 days.
You think he'll serve? Do they even do that for sports figures? Like times.
Yeah, it's part of
He's
the
not
thing.
gonna.
He'll be in there and he'll be in jail for 30 days after the season.
He should have to wear an ankle bracelet on the field.
It's so funny that it's like after the season. It's like imagine like a normal person doing that. It's like, oh, we're really busy during Q4 at my job. Can I do it after that? Can I serve after that?
Hey, you know what? I remember I'm a big hockey fan, so a lot of the Russian players, they have their mandatory military service, and they get it timed so that it's during the off season that they get to go do their military service. So it's not during NHL season.
Oh God! Can you imagine? Can you
get their sentences suspended or moved back to where they can do it when they're not working?
I didn't realize that jail was like, well, I could fit you in here. I could do 3 days here and then be out, and then my schedule opens up again in June. I could do like a 2-week stretch.
Because you didn't have a good lawyer.
Because I'm not a millionaire.
Money.
The American legal system is the very, very best that money can buy.
Yes.
Jeez. Bunch of haters in here, but whatever, Dylan. I hope your videos did great.
Thanks. I appreciate
all
it.
over me.
That sounded
crap on Rashid.
mean-spirited.
He got a suspension. He's paid his fucking fine. He's gonna have to do his jail time.
They're saying to free him like he didn't do anything.
Why are you saying like I said?
Victim.
That?
No,
I
I was saying there were multiple players on the Chiefs wearing the free 4 shirts, and I was saying that's ridiculous.
If you can take credit as a sports fan when your team wins, you can go around and be like, "Yeah, we won." Even though you didn't catch an interception, you didn't make a touchdown, but we won. You could also take the blame for when the players do something stupid.
True. I heard Wes saying we were going over 100 miles an hour.
I've pumped thousands of dollars into that organization. As far as I'm concerned, I'm a
Investor.
adjacent owner. I support the team.
You're an investor.
Exactly.
All right, so then you could be sued when one of the players goes out miles an hour and nearly kills somebody.
I don't think the Chiefs can be sued because Rashid Rice was speeding in Dallas. And I don't think they were.
That
In
was
a
the
perfect
case,
world.
the University of Georgia would be under right now.
So Florida, Miami. All right, Saul, you seem like the voice of reason. I
Me?
felt like this was a very, very low quality new comic book week. What was your thoughts?
Kinda. I mean, Marvel sucked so bad. I saw a golf ball go through 50 feet of garden hose. Seriously, there was a lot of stinkers on that side of the
They
aisle.
had like 17 books too.
I didn't even read Ultimates by Dennis Camp. It was that bad. You know, I mean, seriously, Ultimate.
You got
Black
to the end of the
Panther-
line, and you said no mas.
No mas, please. But I did, of course, go to my local comic book shop this week, and I got 5 new funny books. Fresh funny books, fresh from the new release stack. We'll check them out at the end of the show. And yeah, really cool.
You didn't get the It's Jeff thing, did you?
I came very close to getting the It's Jeff crypto cover, but there was one that was superior to that. Yes. You want to see it? I'll show you.
Yeah, just give a
You
little
wanna
tease.
see
We're about to talk about Deadpool Batman anyway.
Okay. Don't get jealous, Wes, because I know you're going to be jealous.
I'm not a cover guy for the most part.
This Daniel Warren Johnson cover with Thing fighting
yes.
Big Barda, I could not say no. You know, this book was, we're going to talk about it, but this cover, I mean, I had the Jeff crypto in my hand, and because you know I'm a victim of cuteness, and I can't help myself. But this, I love Big Barda, I love Ben Grimm, and I love Daniel Warren Johnson. And this is a great cover. And this,
I love
the
domestic
characters in the
violence.
they're not even in the book. I know it would have been great if they actually had a fight. If this was in the book, but no. I
You
mean,
could replace the worthless Jeff story with it. The worthless Jeff and crypto story.
aw, I know, huh?
That might have been one of the high moments, Aaron. I don't know, man.
That's true. That's true. It's like you were like, oh, at least they're cute.
You were adorable.
I kind of like Green Arrow and Daredevil.
That was by far the best one.
Yeah, that should have been that should have been the crossover. You know, the main draw.
Mhm.
After reading it, I'm kind of like, yeah, that kind of works. I would definitely do it.
Deadpool is played out. I don't know if anybody's going to agree with me, but Deadpool is so played out. He's as played out as Harley Quinn is over at DC. It's just take them and like do a moratorium on them for a couple of years. Don't need to see
We
them
could
again.
take Deadpool and Harley, and we could throw them in a pit and have them fight to the death. Yeah, sure, fuck it, whatever. I don't care.
I know. We
All
can encase Deadpool and
Well,
Adam.
they just announced a new Deadpool series for February.
I know.
Cyclops, so we're getting more Deadpool.
Who's writing it this time?
We
I
don't
don't
They
think
didn't
they
announce,
said
but I'm assuming it's going to be Cody Ziegler.
Oh, jeez.
Oh dear God.
Wade
God.
Wilson Deadpool.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
They don't change the writers when they reboot much anymore.
Cody Ziegler, like that makes me go, you know, can we bring Kelly Thompson back on that title?
yeah, it might be an improvement.
She had the King Deadpool, right? On the throne.
Yeah.
Hell, I
Monster
would
Island.
take Jerry fucking Duggan back.
I wish Brian Posehn would come back. At least
That's
then there
what
was
you
some
need.
jokes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hussein was good. That guy's hilarious. So we do have a new Patreon backer. I do want to give a huge shout out and a welcome to the family to Dustin Harper, aka Thunderjaw, protector of New Bastion. I hope you're enjoying all the things going on in Think Critical Patreon. You get exclusive videos, podcasts, and all that stuff. You get a superhero name and a city to protect. If you're interested in backing us on Patreon or channel memberships, there are links in the video description. And like I said, welcome to the family. We got a couple of comments here. Jagrin says, so hey, for December, could we get a special Patreon-only review extra from Wes and Doc on Ultimate Endgame #1? Mr. CBD Incarnate Dennis Camp. I don't know why it would be a Patreon exclusive, but we could probably do that, Doc. Seems like an important book.
I have no objection to that.
I think he wants a Patreon exclusive so Doc can go full Doc.
Well, you can go full Doc, and I can always edit it down. That's what you have to do for anything Doc that goes on YouTube anyway.
I mean, I got to read the guy that can't even spell his own name right. All right, fine.
It's Denise.
It should be.
I'm gonna call him Denise from now on.
There you go. Federico de la Casa. I'm at the beach now listening to you guys, and it's sunny. I own every DC Marvel crossover, but this team up is of no interest to me. It's cringe at best. Dude, I think Federico's doing it better. He's on the beach in Italy, Doc.
I know he's definitely
the
doing
Met.
it better than me. They really don't want me in Europe. I don't want me in Europe.
Doc, you did have a question in the chat that someone was asking what you use for to catalog your collection, which I think is an important question.
The CLZ app. It's a subscription app. I think I bought mine back whenever it was one purchase, and it went forever. But yeah, I use it. They have a cloud service that allows you to, when you switch devices, you can just download it again from their cloud service. But yeah, it's mobile. They also have an online version for desktop, and they have that's a desktop if you're a Mac OS user. There is a Windows local version as well, but no, it's a good it's kind of crowdsourced metadata on all the comics. You can add manually. It has barcode scanner. It's a really wonderful app, and it's relatively cheap too. It's like $15 a year versus some of the other ones there was 2 or 3 other ones that they were hundreds of dollars, and they really weren't that good.
Yeah, but like Federico de la Casa, I have also gone to the beaches in Italy, Doc. I remember I flew in to Nice, France, and then drove down. And it turns out the beaches in that part were very, very rocky. But I did go parasailing. Did you do that?
I did not go parasailing.
Oh,
I sat my big fat ass in a chair on the beach and read 3 novels.
I stopped by the Casino de Monte Carlo while I was driving.
Oh, well, ain't you fancy?
That was pretty cool because you get to Monte Carlo and you have to drive all the way down this hill that goes back and forth, and then all of a sudden there's just these billion-dollar yachts.
Were you going over 100 like the players on your beloved team?
No,
that
was
driving recklessly.
You can't really drive like that in most of Europe. Certainly not on the way down to Monte Carlo when you're going to the casino and stuff like that.
Were you wearing a white tux? Because this is what I like to think that you rolled in, like a baller, like you were James Bond.
No. I rolled in and I was like, I've got $100. We'll see what happens. I'm going to play, just until my drink was gone. And I remember it was 12 minutes in because the minimum bet on blackjack was $20. I was up $240 and I only had 2 drinks. I was like, screw it, I'm not finishing the drink.
I'm walking away a winner.
Absolutely. That's a pretty good money on a little vacation. I was going to pay for dinner that night, go parasailing or paragliding, all that stuff. So it was a good time. Casino de Monte Carlo, box checked as far as the bucket list. Scumbag Boogie. Saturday AM cartoons used to scratch a specific itch. It's been clear to me that your show scratches the same itch. It's the reason I have been listening to you for a few years now. Let's have fun. Thank you very much.
That's kind of the vibe that we've always wanted to give off with this show.
He-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought we were going comic shop talk, Doc.
No, I mean, yes, it is, but it's that same kind of youthful joy,
right?
And also
at the end, we always do a PSA at the end where we're like, "Boy, we sure had some fun today," but we learned that
and knowing is half the battle. The other half is red lasers and blue lasers. But
yeah, that's why we got Dylan on the show full time. We needed the youthful joy.
Yes.
Well, he sits there and talks smack to me for 25 minutes straight.
I love it. I love smack talking. Dylan, the more smack you talk, the more happy I am that you're a regular.
Thank you.
Then you won't refuse to watch K-pop Demon Hunters, even though it's tailor made.
I don't know how
Actually,
that
really
got
good.
your like dementia got that stuck on me. That's not just 1 week. You're like, yeah, thanks for recommending that. I never brought that up in my life.
You were specifically talking about your girlfriend and you watching K-pop Demon Hunters on a phone and getting pop-up ads.
No, I said that in response to you telling me to watch it. You brought it
I
up.
would have never
first.
told you about it. I'd never heard of it.
No, you had brought it up after Sully had recommended it because you were like, "Oh, you're gonna watch that?"
When?
It
did I
does sound like
recommend
me. I'm not gonna lie.
I will also say I'm going fully off Sully recommended it off the one person in chat who was like, I went back and looked. Sully was the one who recommended it. I never went and verified that, but that one person in chat who said it said
Oh.
Sully was the one who brought it up.
When?
Well, you don't
It
remember
was-
recommending K-pop Demon Hunters on the
That's gotta be a month ago now.
So
I
yeah,
haven't
so
had Netflix since Cuties. What
So
are you
the-
talking about?
Yes, never even watched it.
it was the weekend before where Sully was at that convention. I can't remember which con, but the one where there's
Mohegan
two
Sun.
conventions going on in Boston. Because I remember Sully wasn't there when everyone was like, "Who suggested this?" And then someone in chat was like, "I went and checked. It was Sully," and we were all like, "Yeah, that sounds right." Other than Wes, who was still convinced it was me.
But you have a magnificent shirt on, Sully. Probably even better than Aaron's shirt, to be honest.
It's brand new,
That
and you
beautiful
can get your
comics
own in the
book.
Teespring store, available right here at the very own YouTube description in the show notes. So get your
There
own.
is a link to that, as well as
Comics
channel
Aficionados.
memberships and Patreon. But there's also a link to John's Whatnot if you're interested in joining it. And John, you like just letting it loose, right?
Yeah, I mean, in general, or just on the show.
Well, on the show, I know you like to let loose.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of interaction with creators in the industry and then publishers, and that's normally what people are interested in, during the streams. And then, what I do is a niche of a niche of a niche, right? So comics is a little tiny part of American culture. It's unfortunately it's almost microscopic at this point. To my utter sadness and chagrin, comics to me has been one of the great saviors of my life. You know what I mean? Escaping into comics, and I had a lot of stuff happen when I was a kid. Family trauma stuff, and comics was always my anchor. Comics always brought me a lot of joy from the art. I mean, I agree with what you say all the time, Wes. It's the greatest storytelling medium in the world, and it helped me tremendously over the years. Even how I got into comics in the first place was traumatic as far as being a retailer, because I was a police officer for almost 30 years before I did this. And I was being my department was coming after me for reporting on corruption inside the department. And it ended up starting to cost me a lot of money in legal fees to defend myself against the government that I was supposed to be working for. And then so I started thinking I might get fired. I might need money for my mortgage. Let me figure out another way to make some income. So I started flipping books on eBay for my LCS. Turned out I was pretty good at it, and I've always had an artistic eye and an artistic bent. So I talked to someone in the industry, and I started working together with them to figure out. I never even heard of a retailer exclusive variant. I figured out how to produce those and do that, and I was mentored, and I started doing so well on eBay that I started a website and got some branding, and I designed my logo right at my desk right before I was about to go into an internal affairs investigation. I was sitting at my desk on a design app on my phone, and that's how I came up with our 616 logo. I was waiting to go into an internal affairs investigation. And I did so well that, everybody at work, cops are big, macho men with big egos and other issues. So everybody would make fun of me. Oh, you sell comics. Oh, that's cute. And then we were in the break room one day, and one guy said, in front of everybody, trying to embarrass me, he said, "Oh, I noticed, John, you don't work overtime anymore. You must be selling a few comics." I said, "Yeah, I sell a little bit." And he said, "Oh, how much you making from that?" I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Well, like how much you making?" I said, "Like for this year." And this was like year 2. And And I said, you really want to know? And he goes, yeah, what is it? And I said, I told him the number, and it was about probably 20 times what he would make in a single year. This was my top line revenue. Obviously, I'm not telling him my profit, but
Yeah.
it shut the whole room down. And I said, yeah, it turns out I'm pretty fucking good at this. And everybody, and I just left the room, So I was, I got into comics because I was being persecuted for being honest inside our government, which is not the most honest place anymore, if it ever was. So it's just interesting. Comics has saved my life as a kid, emotionally, and as an adult. The reason that they stopped coming after me, my department, was because I was doing so well with comics. They were trying to bankrupt me, essentially. And I said, at one point, I said, this is going to cost you guys a lot of money in legal fees with fighting me on these things. And they said, well, it's going to cost you a lot more, and we know what you make. And I said, you actually don't know what I make now. So yeah, comics to me is other than my family, it's the biggest part of my life. It's a huge passion for me. And I'm just, like I said earlier, Wes, I'm super grateful to you and the guys on the panel here. Doc, I've been listening to Doc for years. I'm glad I'm next to Doc because I feel like I'm as salty as Doc is. I'm glad I'm next to him in the chat. But comics is just such an integral part of my life that when I go on the Whatnot streams, I try to be very transparent, because I find like a lot of readers don't understand what it takes to produce a variant, or they don't understand what's really happening inside the industry on the retailer side, or even on the creative side. Like you do a good job, Wes, and the channel does a great job of exposing a lot of that. But I can provide, like from a retailer, what I'm seeing, what I think the problems are. And I'm not an LCS guy. My shop is not open to the public. If you go by our storefront, there's a sign on the door that says we're not open to the public. It's basically just a distribution point. So I have tremendous respect for the guys that own local comic shops. I am like a sub niche of a sub niche. I laser focus in on producing the best quality variants with some of the best artists that'll work with me. And I'm just relentlessly focused on that. I don't do conventions. I don't do signings. I just try to put out as many covers as I can. I try to give these artists a lot of work. Me and you were talking about that this week, Wes, as far as the industry has been attriting in the last several years. And not only on that side, but retailers have been hit so hard. They're not producing as many retailer exclusives as they used to. So there's a lot of artists that have been hitting me up in the last couple months. Hey, John, do you have work for me? Can you get me a cover? Can you do this? Because they know I pay well, and I pay fast, and I pay on time, which is a problem in this industry, not only from publishers, but from retailers as well.
Oh, yeah.
Retailers are not the most honest motherfuckers you'll come across. I 30 years in police work, I figured I'll go into comics. It's going to be super fun. I was very naive, amazingly, as an almost 50-year-old man coming into an industry. And then I got screwed over by so many different retailers that I don't have a lot of good things to say, unfortunately, about a lot of them. Again, not the LCS guys, but the ones that produce retailer exclusives. I mean, again, just in the interest of transparency, currently my accounts receivable from other retailers is in the six figures, and that money is not recoverable. It's not worth it for me to go after these other retailers that owe me money. But I'm very honest on the Whatnot streams. I'll talk about these types of things, and I'll give my opinions, and I'm not shy about it. So the tagline of our Whatnot shows when I host it is, you come for the shit talk and you stay for the comics. Because
very nice.
I don't hold back. I guess I should have asked you, is it okay if I use some cuss words here and there? Is that not permissible on the show? Or am I
Doc is on the channel.
I figured.
Yes. I don't know if I can say a full sentence without the word fuck in it.
I know, me too. It's hard. I mean, I was a longshoreman for 5 years before I became a cop. So you're looking at like...
And you were on the SWAT team.
Yeah, I was on the SWAT team for about 10 years. So, I have a hard time getting through a sentence. And I tell my kids all the time, I have 7 kids total. There's no such thing as a curse word. The only curse word to me is a word that's used in order to hurt somebody else. You know what I mean? So the word stupid is not a curse word, right? But if you call one of your siblings stupid, you're going to have a problem with that, because to me, that's a curse word. But you could say fuck all day long if you want. Even as a little kid, I don't care. Just don't say it in school. Like, they know it's not appropriate in certain contexts. But yeah, like, so that's my That's my linguistic tendency, I guess, is to go doc.
We've got HH, the fellows from Sigma Comics. Shout out to the Think Critical team from UltraCon in West Palm Beach. Support your favorite comics channel. Hit like, subscribe, and grab some comics on our site. Who's just like traveling around the world talking to comic fans.
Well, in the chat earlier, someone had said that like Comics Aficionados is like going to a Comic-Con every weekend, and I said that's HH's life.
Yes.
Right there. He's actually at a Comic-Con every weekend.
Yeah. Literally.
Very, very cool. New York's coming up, right? Right, Ed?
Yeah. New York's coming up. I just placed the order for the New York Kneel Before Doomface preview special that we're doing for New York. This one will have the first 14 pages of the book, all lettered. It's also got a special 5-page preview in the back of another book that I'm doing, the same team, The Vengeance of Vincent Spector. So, you'll get the 5-page preview of that. It's like a nice little flip book. Got a nice Doomface Takes Manhattan cover where he's turning the Statue of Liberty into the Statue of Tyranny. I think everybody's going to like it.
I love it.
Very nice. And Drew will be there. HH will be there. AL will be there. Joe Corallo will be there, I believe.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing Joe. I haven't seen Joe in probably well over a year.
Very good. Very good. Let's talk about this comic. We did have something pretty big come out this week. The first Marvel DC crossover in over 20 years, Deadpool Batman #1. Zeb Wells was writing it, Greg Capullo on art. And me personally, I had a not great opinion of the book. I felt like every other Deadpool anything crossover we got in the past decade, and I thought most of the backups actually detracted from the story overall. Now, Dylan, you already did your own full review. I don't know exactly what your tenor was. Were you more positive than me? Because I gave it like a 3.5 out of 10.
I was more positive than you, but I still didn't like it overall and would not recommend spending $7 on it. Because it just, the main story, the meat and potatoes, is the Batman Deadpool story, and I thought it was fine, but it's nothing that's really going to sell the comic or make it worth the price. I thought that story was fine, and then you have the worst story of all, the Wonder Woman Cap one next. That one was terrible. I don't understand who approved that. It's just them being best friends because Wonder Woman convinced Cap not to execute Hitler when he was surrendering. It's like, Cap's a soldier. He knows not to execute an enemy that's surrendering during wartime. Like, why does he need Wonder Woman to tell him this? Also, why are we just getting a story about them being like best friends throughout the years? And then he stops Wonder Woman from killing Maxwell Lord later on. And it's like, what? This is their friendship? They just stop each other from killing people? Like, this is so weird. And it's supposed to be like this beautiful friendip thing. It was so
anti-murder
weird.
Buddies.
That's my friendship with Doc, Dylan. Keep him from killing people.
Yeah.
It was so bad. That story was terrible. I liked the, by far, Daredevil Green Arrow was the best one. I really liked that. And then I thought the 2-page Green Lantern Guardians was fun because they just swap Rocket and Hal. Hal beats the tar out of Thanos and takes the Infinity Gauntlet and goes full Parallax. I thought that was great. It was a fun little reveal at the end because they're like, oh, man, Rocket's causing so much problems. You guys got Hal. He's a good one. And it's like, oh, no, Hal's causing a lot of problems for the Marvel Universe. That was fun. But none of it made it worth $7. There's like 2 pretty good stories and then 1 okay story, and the rest are not very good. And the Crypto Jeff the Landstar one was just kind of like, I get it. They're popular characters. It's for the kids, so I didn't have a problem with it. But it was kind of like, this is maybe taking up more room than it should. The Old Man Logan Dark Knight Returns crossover was terrible. I hated that so much. I'm happy that Frank Miller gets paid. He's a legend. He deserves it. We got to get him to stop drawing stuff, though. I know Sully disagrees with me, but man, his drawing capabilities have gone down a lot, and I don't. It just felt so weird. They have like a 3-page battle, and Batman wins because Frank Miller is writing it, so of course he wins by just strapping explosives to Logan's waist. It's like, yeah, Wolverine's an idiot that doesn't notice that Batman just straps some explosives to his waist, and that's how he wins. And it was terrible. It was really bad.
My question is, like the whole, Crypto Jeff the Land Shark thing. I get it. It's for kids and everything. Why do you put it in this book if it's for kids? Like, you should have released it as a separate project.
I have an answer. I
go ahead.
This book, this is my major problem with this book. It's cute. It's okay. But it's not made for hardcore fans like us. This is a book that's literally made for normies. This is
great point.
I think, hence the Batman Deadpool story being so kind of, just it's not deep at all. There's nothing really going on in this book. I mean, and would it be an unfair comparison to compare it to the Amalgam or even JLA Avengers?
Amalgam.
I've never heard someone pronounce it like that in my whole life.
I always used to pronounce it as amalgam instead of amalgam, just because I knew it was wrong.
Is it Rahan?
No,
Is it
good.
Ronnie?
Like, I believe Sully understands that if he mispronounces something, the chat will correct him, and that's engagement, and that boosts the.
Oh, true.
Exactly.
200 IQ Sully, yeah.
That's why Wes says emphasis all the time.
On the wrong
Also,
syllable.
that didn't make sense about this book is the Deadpool Batman crossover goes out of its way to tell you how Deadpool got to the DC universe. Every other story is like, oh, they just exist in this like amalgam universe, basically. Like they've always been in the same universe. It's like, why? Because I thought it was just going to be, like Sully was saying, basically like, fun stories that aren't really for the hardcore fans. So there's no reason to explain why they're in the same universe. Just like, it is what it is. But the first story, they're like, oh, Joker's like, I got Clarion the Witch Boy to locate Deadpool. And then I used the Cosmic Treadpool. Well, I got the Cosmic Treadmill with Reverse Flash. I got him to use that to bring Deadpool over here. Then every other story is like, oh, Wonder Woman and Captain America have been friends since World War II. Green Arrow could just go to Hell's Kitchen where Daredevil's hanging out. They're just in the same universe. It's like, why did we take up time explaining how Deadpool got here when every other story is like, no, they just exist in the same spot.
So that Cody Ziegler could, let you know that he's seen episodes of Young Justice, and he knows who Clarion the Witch Boy is, and he knows what the Cosmic Treadmill is.
But Aaron, isn't that the editorial's job, Aaron, to tell the writer, hey, we don't need to take up a couple panels or pages with this explainer. Let's just assume that the reader's smart enough to figure the fuck out, and let's just go right into the story. Isn't that the editor's job?
It would be if you had editors at Marvel that did their job.
There you go.
But they don't. They don't rein these people in. I mean, an editor's job would have been to go through Cody Ziegler's script and go, none of these jokes are funny. So, do something else. There's too much talking. Why is everybody... I'm sorry, Zeb Wells. Zeb Wells. I mix those two up all the time because to me their talent level is the same. So, it's like that should have been done. You should have said, this is a Batman Deadpool book. Why is there so much damn talking?
Yes.
Like, why is there not more action? It should have just been balls to the wall action. And I know that people get Deadpool and they go, oh, I got to have Deadpool make a bunch of stupid one-liners. You don't. What you need to do is you need to have Deadpool engage in some cool action and have a couple of good one-liners. A couple of good solid lines will serve you far better than just throwing everything at the wall in every panel and trying to make it stick. So, you have to have that kind of restraint. And that's normally the sort of thing that an editor would do with a writer that has none. And it just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen at Marvel anymore.
It's because Mark Basso's not a good editor. In any sane world, he's getting coffee for real editors.
Well, this is how everything is at Marvel, it seems. It just seems like everybody's either overworked or so underpaid and disinterested in their job that it's just they're more of a traffic manager than anything else. Did the script come in? Okay, give it to the artist. Did you read the script? Nah. Let the artist deal with it.
They're a coordinator rather than an editor, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a logistics manager, not an editor.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. You should be sitting down as an editor, and you should be first of all, there should be group editors. They should return to that so that characters are kept consistent across multiple books. And then underneath it, you should have editors who are then working with the writer to do the best possible version of whatever it is that you guys have decided to do. But they just don't have that anymore.
In fairness, the X-Line does have a group editor. His name's Tom Brever.
Well, you should have
it's Will Moss, and then Nick Lowe is in charge of Spider-Man, and I guess Jordan White is the group editor in charge of everything else.
Okay, well, there you go. So it's not a problem. You have to have competent group editors. How about that?
Not a single... Yeah, that's the sad part. Not a single one of the people that you mentioned there is even remotely actually qualified for their job.
Back in the day, a group editor would have been somebody that was a writer of some stature that had some success and then moved to a more managerial role as a group editor. And now it's people that come up as editors, but never have actually written. So you are correct, Doc.
Yeah. Well, I mean, can you imagine if this crossover, Deadpool Batman was written by like Chuck Dixon? Can you imagine if we had that level of talent on it? We would have gotten something good, something interesting, something fun. Instead, we just get a bunch of lame one-liners from Deadpool and characters standing around talking and
Right.
not much action at all.
Made for normies. This isn't made for us. You know,
Normies do
I'm
not want to.
excusing it.
Normies do not want to read a bunch of lame jokes from Deadpool.
But they do
Normies
wanna-
would like to see.
They do want to hop on to be like, hey, look, a major crossover between DC and Marvel. Oh, wow. And
If you want to get the normie audience, you got to be able to market to the normies, and Marvel and DC do not have the ability to do that.
I think this one will do very well. I think with everything going into it and the amount of
Sure,
coverage they had.
The 100,000 people that are left buying comics, they'll sell. They'll buy multiple copies. Some of them, and that'll get them the numbers.
Yeah.
But
So what did you think, Doc? Did you get to read through Deadpool Batman?
Me? No, I didn't even bother.
You abstained from the biggest crossover in 20 years?
I also abstained from the Batman Spawn, and I even abstained from that Mark Silvestri Batman
Joker book. You're
Yeah,
crazy. That was
like-
a good one.
I know, like I just couldn't bring myself to give a shit. I'm tired of seeing, like, I'm sorry, Zeb Wells is the least funny writer that they could have had on this. Like,
Well, he was on Robot Chicken. He was on She-Hulk.
yeah, none of those were funny either.
I loved Robot Chicken there for a minute.
Robot
Oh,
Chicken would
Chicken has
occasionally have some funny stuff, but mostly it just came down to poop and dick jokes. Like there's a lot of sketches that were just that, and it was like the lowest common
What's your favorite
denominator of
toys?
comedy.
And
Yeah.
that was mostly Seth Green.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Like-
true.
He
And I
was
get
like,
it because Seth Green, you figure he grew up in Hollywood. It's like to be a really funny person, you have to have lived some life. You have to have seen some shit. Like, and if you've just grown up in like the Hollywood bubble from when you were a little kid to like you're an adult, your sense of humor is not going to be really refined because your life has not been, all of that diverse, all of that interesting. You've not had a lot of experiences that normal people have and can relate to.
but no, I sat this out like
Okay.
the creative choices on it. Honestly, you could have had a Chuck Dixon and Scott Lobdell. Would have been
Well, both of those guys are
significantly-
blacklisted, Doc, so they wouldn't.
I
do that.
understand. I don't
Why
think
is Lobdell blacklisted? I understand
Because
that
he
Chuck is a
made dad
conservative.
jokes 5 years ago. Remember that? You haven't seen him on the book since.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when they were trying to say that, like, oh, he like is always like inviting women to things and blah blah blah, and it's inappropriate. And I was like, I remember being on the train in Seattle, with Scott Lobdell. Like, and he noticed that I had a comic book shirt, and he asked me if I was going to the comic convention. And I said yes. We started talking. I introduced myself. Within 5 minutes, Scott Lobdell was like, "Do you want to go to the DC party? I could get you in. If you want to go and you want to meet some people, I'll introduce you to some people." Like, he was just. I don't think Scott Lobdell was trying to sleep with me. I think that Scott Lobdell is just a guy who's like, hey, you like comics? I like comics. You let me see what I can do for you. I didn't go to the party because I didn't have.
And I
Then
think-
you don't know. He might have been trying to sleep with you, Aaron.
and I think he's one of those guys that's like, hey, I kind of lucked into this whole career just because I was walking down the hall at the right time. I want to open that door for others.
Yeah. No, and it
But
was
he's
great.
blacklisted because of that. If you've noticed, he hasn't written a book since.
Yeah, I mean,
Keep blacklisting the talented people of the comic industry. That's great.
sure, it's going to work out for you one of these days.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you're the more optimistic person on the
Me?
panel. There's
Yes.
nobody that loved this book more than you, correct?
Probably, yeah. I think I like this book more than anyone else. I liked the Wonder Woman Captain America story a lot. I loved the Dodson's
See,
art.
I would have. My big issue with that story, besides the art being really rushed and not looking quite up to the normal Terry Dodson standards, the idea that Wonder Woman has to talk Steve Rogers out from murdering somebody, even if it is Hitler, doesn't land with me. I don't think Steve Rogers would ever murder anybody.
True, but it's like I just maybe that's just the conditions of that specific else world that they're in. But overall, I liked it. It was okay. The Jeff crypto one, it was cutesy. You know what I mean? There's not much to it. I love the Andy Kubert art on Kevin Smith's Daredevil Green Arrow. That was amazing. That double page splash. You know what I mean? But I'm a huge Frank Miller fan, and I kind of really liked Showdown, the Frank Miller the Dark Knight Returns Batman versus Old Man Logan. It's only 3 pages. It's only 9 panels.
What is it even trying to do, though? That's
It's
my big
just
question.
it's just like I said. This is my thesis statement about this book: is it's made for normies. So it's just
I don't think any normie is going to pick that up, look at that story, and think that was cool. I want to read comic books.
I love hearing
That was for you. That was for
Yes.
hardcore comic fans.
well, I love hearing the authentic Dark Knight Returns Batman voice. You know what I mean? Especially calling Logan Fido. I thought that was perfect. Especially like just the way that it brought me back to DK2, where Batman's making fun of Dick Grayson. Like at the end of the book. I love that. The taunting, the name calling. I really enjoyed that. But also it's like this is it's a good example of Frank Miller's current style. He's old. He's gone through some health problems, and his current style, it really, to me, it's ultra cartoony. He's like going a little bit deeper into the cartooning part of it. It's simple. It's basic, and I think it's purposely flat. It looks really 2-dimensional, and I think he's doing that. Well, there could be 2 reasons. One, he's just hamming up that this is fake. This is comic booky. These are superhero stories. They're imaginary. They're supposed to. They don't look really flat. It doesn't look very foreshortening and not a lot of depth to it. But also, it could be because he's getting old. And
I'm pretty sure it's because he's getting older.
Yeah, I think this is the best he can
So-
do. I don't think this is some grand effort from him being like, "This is superheroes," and I'm doing this after.
Yeah, I think you're being extra charitable. Sully. I think that you're like somebody who'd be like, "Oh no, I believe the Young Bucks when they say that they've had bad matches on purpose for the last year."
I mean, if anyone out there was reading Ronin book 2, you saw he did the outlines for it, and then Philip Tan pumped it up. And it worked really well. Then he did one issue. It looked like he was spending a lot of time and raising up his own art. But like the covers that he's been doing lately, it does look very flat and it does look very 2-dimensional. And I think it's done for effect. And it was just because I'm a lifelong fan of his. He was like he wrote the first Daredevils I ever bought off the spinner rack when I was 8 years
Greatest
old.
Daredevil writer of all times. Yes.
Yeah, 1981. I'm buying Daredevil 174, 175, 176. The introduction of the Hand, and it was like I'm just a lifelong fan, so I appreciate this, and that's But my least favorite part of this book was the amalgam.
You didn't like logo?
Logo. I thought that was lame. I thought that was just
It wasn't a story. It was literally nothing. It was like a preview.
yeah. It's just like
Look, the character's name is Logo because he's Logan and Lobo. I was like that immediately. Like if that came across my desk, I'd be like rejected just immediately as an editor. But they don't have any at Marvel.
But like Ryan North is like he's just like I think there's more bad Ryan North work than good at this point. I've been reading.
I think there's all bad Ryan North work. I don't think there's any good Ryan North work.
Well, I found a couple of Fantastic Four issues pretty good.
And you were wrong to do that, but it's okay. You also like the Kansas City Chiefs.
Why not?
We've only won 3 of the last 5 Super Bowls.
Oh, yeah,
3 of the last 6.
It's easy when all the calls go your way because they want to get Taylor Swift on TV.
Well, those were 2 of them were before he was dating Taylor Swift, and they've only been to 8 AFC title games in a row, 5 Super Bowls. Yeah,
Bork. Murr. How cute.
That story was not for normies. That was for you, Sully.
Aw, shucks. Thank you, Kelly.
But I don't know, Dylan. I kind of thought the Rocket Raccoon.
Hello.
Uh-oh.
He froze up a little bit, but yeah, the
Rocket.
Sully?
I'll say something about Rocket.
Well, I think Wes was
Finish Wes's thought.
starting to say the Rocket Raccoon Green Lantern tale was probably.
Oh, he's back. Wes, you cut out. What you said? Rocket Raccoon, then completely cut out.
Yeah. I thought the Rocket Raccoon Green Lantern thing was like there was a couple chuckles there, even if it didn't really understand Green Lantern lore.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was fun for just like a little 2-pager. I thought it was fun because it's like here's
But it was
Rocket
3 pages. Yeah.
causing a lot of problems, and then
Yeah.
they're like calling, they're like, take him back. You know, Hal's probably a godsend. You know, he's great. And they're like,
He ends up with
Hal's
the Infinity
what's a
Gauntlet. Come on.
parallax? Hal beat up Thanos and took the Infinity Gauntlet. I
That
thought
was
that was
fun.
great. That was really fun.
That was fun. Yeah.
But there wasn't a whole lot of fun in those backups.
No, there weren't. It was rough. Like I said, I liked the Daredevil, Green Arrow, and the Green Lantern Guardians. I thought those were the two best, but that doesn't make it worth $7. Not even.
Well,
close.
because
Oh no.
I thought the Capullo art was amazing though in the Batman Daredevil book. I mean,
I thought it was good, but it wasn't. I didn't think it was Capullo's best. I thought it was definitely not his prime. But also, like I saw everyone talking on Twitter about how like he got in a fight with his colorist or something. So it's not the different guy now. So maybe that had something to do with it. But yeah, I thought it didn't look as good. And also, Wes, you cut out again. So
I'm having bad issues with my internet apparently. But it felt like to me on the Capullo art that the inker like took away his character, especially anything that was kind of zoomed out. If it was directly on a face, it kind of looked like Capullo, but if anything that was an actual scene, like it looked like they went too hard in the paint on the inks to me.
yeah. But also, like Zeb didn't give him much to do because they're kind of just standing around talking for the most part. There's not a whole lot for Capullo to really shine there.
like all the conversation in the Batmobile. That was kind of just too much talk.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like,
Well, like the entire thing is like talking. There's not.
Yeah.
It's not a whole lot.
Because
of actual-
Deadpool's so funny. He had so many great one-liners that Zeb just had to get on the page.
I
Yeah,
did
some
like the bit of
masturbation jokes and pedo jokes.
I did like the bit of Joker doing his typical like, if you want to stop me, you're gonna have to do this and you'll die. And then Deadpool just instantly presses the button because he can explode. It doesn't matter. I did like that. That was good because like Joker's not used to dealing with someone like that.
That was the only good line was Joker's response. Like, didn't see that coming or whatever he said was, had
Also,
a little bit of a chuckle. to it.
Speaking of Capullo's art, though, something that was weird. Joker's like 6 inches taller than Batman in this. There's a part where they're like face to face, and like Joker's up. They're both standing upright when Batman's tied up, and he's just like looking down on Batman. I found that so weird. I had no idea why Joker was so much taller than Batman. Threw me off for a panel.
So, what do you think, John? From a retailer perspective,
Mm.
did you think it lived up to the hype, or is this what comic books needed right now?
No, I mean, I think it's what comic books needed because Marvel's just been so flat. I do agree DC's been kicking their ass all over the field on every play. It seems like every month, but I was very disappointed in it. I would rather them go with, like, say, if you're going to go with the Deadpool Batman, that's not who I would choose. I think an interesting question is what's not in this book that readers would that would bring more readers in that people would want to see. And they knew the timing of this was coming right on the heels of the big DC Superman movie coming out. For the fucking life of me, I can't imagine why a Spider-Man Superman crossover wasn't the ass end of this book. So if you are going to go with Deadpool Batman, I understand I would go with Batman. He's the most popular DC character on the planet, probably always will be. But definitely Superman's fucking second, right? So why wouldn't you do half the book or say 60% of the book as Deadpool Batman if you're insisting on Deadpool? But then you got to get, if you're Marvel, you got to get your number one player on the fucking field, which is Spidey, right? Or fucking Venom or something like that. Wolverine, right? I mean, I the only thing I thought was cool about the Wolverine story, and again, this is weird coming off the heels of a Jeff and Crypto type of situation. Like you have Jeff and Crypto, and then you have this blood-soaked battle a couple pages later, and I'm like, that is so disconcerting to go from the Jeff and Crypto to, blood-soaked Wolverine and Batman. I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? Although, to give Frank Miller a shout out from a design layout perspective, this is a great page. I just find this very compelling. I thought this was one of the best pages of the book, in my personal opinion. But I guess the best thing that I could say about this is, and I think one of the reviews that you sent over, Wes, said this, one of the best things that can be said is this exists. I think, it's something that happened for sure. I don't think it was their best swing by a long shot. The best creators with maybe the exception of like a Capullo are absent. And some of the cover artists, I think the best cover was the Art Germ Catwoman Magic cover. But having said that, oh yeah, and the DWJ cover is fucking incredible too. From a dynamic standpoint, like with kinetic action on the cover, that's the best cover, the DWJ cover. From an art perspective, I would say it's the Art Germ cover. But again, you don't have a Catwoman Magic crossover in this book, so it's kind of weird to have that. But I think you got to ask the question, what's missing? And I think Superman and Spidey. I think if you have to go with Deadpool Batman, and that's what the powers that be decided, I think the ass end of the book should be one other story, and that's it. And it should be Superman and Spider-Man. Especially, it gives a nice to longtime readers to bring them back in that iconic cover of Superman and Spidey fighting up in the sky.
I heard that next year they're doing a 50th anniversary.
Another one, yes.
Yeah, there's going to be some different Spidey Superman books.
Spidey's got to be on that one, right?
I would love that. Yeah,
Right.
I would love that. I just find that creatively, this is bankrupt. This is a bankrupt book. They did have great success with it. From what I was reading, it's maybe their highest selling book of the year. But too much talking. I do agree with the inks. I had a couple notes here. It's my first time on, so I have reader notes, right? So the inks on the Capullo stuff disappointed me a lot. And then I just think that it just needs, there's too many stories and they're too disconcerting, right? Like I said, going from Jeff and Crypto to the blood-soaked Wolverine Batman fight. I'm like, what is happening right now? I do think that probably the best art is the Kubert art. I love the double page spread, right? This is probably the highlight of the book, the double page spread. I love the panels on the bottom and how that kind of frames and pushes the eye to the top of the page to see the action at the top. But the only thing I could say about this book is that it exists. And I got to work with Patrick Gleason for the first time in my comic book career by doing the Deadpool Joker cover, which I was thrilled about because I'm a huge Gleason fan.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we do have a DC Batman Deadpool book, but that one's going to be Grant Morrison.
Yeah.
We haven't seen Grant Morrison do anything really great at DC in quite some time. I think the last time it was Superman and the Authority.
It was terrible. Yeah, that was awful.
And before that was Green Lantern, which I didn't like either.
Yeah, that started out okay and then quickly went terrible.
Yeah.
Really weird.
But he's certainly a much bigger name than Zeb Wells.
Yes.
I'm more excited about that than I am about Zeb Wells for sure as the headline writer. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you expecting it to be a continuation of this story? Because they do play it off at the end like it's not over.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be because at the end you have Deadpool winking being like, I'm going to spend some more time in Gotham. So I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be.
I think it'll be a wholly new story, but the bit on it will be that Deadpool remembers this happening. It'll be the same as, Batman Punisher, Punisher Batman, Batman Spawn, Spawn Batman, like the ones from the 90s. Where really the only thing that carried over was, they did do the thing in where the Batman Spawn one did carry over because Spawn had his face shoelaced together after the batarang that ended up in it.
Yeah, so we got that one coming up. I imagine we're going to be getting a bunch of short stories, but I do think, Aaron, that there really is almost no added value for a 3-page backup story. There's just nothing you can really achieve.
It's tough to do. I mean, the shortest story I've ever written was the 4-page Yuri Han story I did for Street Fighter, and that was tough. And it was, all it was a fight. That was all I was, just hey, it's a fight between these two characters. Just write it. And it's tough because I really like to, one thing that I like to do in my books is I like to have a certain amount of pacing. I like to really plan things out so that everything has the maximum amount of impact. And it's really tough to do in a 4-pager. So I can imagine the challenge of doing a story in a 3-pager. I mean, the 2-page Rocket and Green Lantern story was basically, that's all you can do in that space.
Kind of a
just
joke
do something quick, just do a joke. Yeah. Just do a joke as quick as possible, get to the punchline, and then you're out. So it's a tough challenge as a writer to do something that short.
Yeah. I would have rather seen the Green Arrow Daredevil stuff just expanded.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Even with the little Kevin Smithisms that we get, still better than anything else in that book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Kubert art was really good though.
Oh yeah, you can't miss with Kubert.
You fucking nailed it. So are you still excited, Sully? You looking forward to this Batman Deadpool from DC?
I am, because I'm a huge Grant Morrison fan, and I want to see him get his groove back. And I think, and then for me, I loved Grant Morrison's Batman run back in the day. And I think that he's going to probably bring Damian into this too, because Damian is basically, well, his self-insert. You know what I mean? And I'm looking forward to it. Sure. Yeah, I'll be tuned in. Yeah.
Very nice. And then we've also got this mystery project. I think a lot of people probably assuming that it's going to be something along the lines of Superman, Spider-Man. I don't know. Is there a better matchup up there for you, Dylan, or of characters you like to see? You want Jonah Hex versus Wolverine to be number one?
John Hex Wolverine, like that would be really cool to see. But I obviously, in terms of like selling a comic, there's not another one that you could do right now than Spider-Man, Superman. Like that'd be the best optics wise. But I feel like there are other interesting matchups you can do. That's
Justice League, X-Men.
You could have done Wolverine Batman, and not a Frank Miller version.
That's the thing. Yeah. You can see in the variant covers are like, here's all the stuff you guys wanted to see, but none of it's in the comic. It's like all these interesting matches. Like, oh, that stuff's cool. Too bad it's only in variant covers. So they knew what would be interesting.
Superboy Wiccan, where they just, one just keeps trying to fuck the other one for the entire.
Well, see, you guys said like, oh, Superman, Spider-Man next year, but this is Marvel, so Marvel's version will be, it's going to be like Miles Morales and John Kent, and the plot will be Miles has to help John on his gay date, just like the mission that you had to do in Spider-Man 2, from Sony.
But I
think they're looking to make money, so they're going to put big characters.
If they expand the Green Arrow Daredevil, Green Arrow Bullseye would be awesome. I'd love to see that.
Oh, that would be really good.
It would be fantastic. So there we go. A lot of people had some pushback on me. So they love the book. I was like, they just haven't been reading Marvel, because I'm telling you, it's the exact same plot of every Daredevil Wolverine book I've been reading for the last 3 years.
Pretty much. But, that this book it's got some fun to it. And for me, that kind of matters most. That's fun is the defining line between a good comic and a bad comic, in a way. I mean, did I enjoy my time spent reading this floppy? And I am a big fan of fun. And like take something like this week's Star Wars. Oh God, it was so unfun. It was so awful. You know what I mean? And then you have Star Wars Boba Fett, red, white, black, white, and red, and that was fun. And that was a bit more of a classic Star Wars book. So it's like fun goes a long way with me. I'm a simple guy at times.
I will say that Boba Fett book, if it was just normal color, would be so much better.
Wouldn't it have been? It would have been a perfectly great Boba Fett story because of the black, white, and red concept. It renders a lot of the pages unreadable. Like you can't even see the scopes and stuff.
Yeah, because reading, I was like, this is pretty good, but man, visually, like it kind of hurts my head looking at this.
Yes.
Yeah.
They went overboard on the red.
Yeah.
They totally did. Yeah. It should have been used for like blood, right? Or like the shining from the sensors.
But there's not a lot of blood in Star Wars, because they're using blasters and lightsabers and
when
stuff.
Obi-Wan cut that guy's arm off, just that. Yeah. But yeah, there's generally not a whole lot of blood.
Yeah, so it's a weird concept for a Boba Fett book, but I was like, we're getting a Boba Fett book. Ben Percy isn't, batting 1,000, but he's certainly batting over 300, which is good enough for me.
Yeah,
and,
especially for
there was a lot of quality.
Yeah,
and that cover was fucking amazing, dude. The Alex Maleev cover.
Yes.
Yeah,
very much. So
the only thing that kept it from being a recommend was the coloring on the inside, though. I thought Chris Allen or whatever his name was perfectly fine.
God, at one time I'd have killed to do a Boba Fett book, and now I just don't care.
Yeah. Well, you might check it out, Aaron. You might like it more than I did, but the red coloring just threw the entire thing off.
Yeah, no, I just can't deal with Disney Star Wars. I just have zero interest.
Yep.
Even when I walk into the store and I see like something from, you see something like original trilogy, and you're like, oh, cool. And then I look and I see that Disney logo above the Star Wars, and I'm just like, no.
But that's another one of the problems. We were talking a little bit earlier, or you were pointing it out there, John, that Alex Maleev does the cover, And the interior of Boba Fett is perfectly fine, but if it was Alex Maleev, it would have been better. Yet we never even get an Alex Maleev book these days.
No, and I thought that the other day. I was reading through Hickman's first volume of his Fantastic Four run. And amazingly, I had never read it. So I was going through, and there's an Adi Granov interiors that he did for one of those issues early in the Hickman run. And I was shocked because Adi is now just a cover guy, right? And I'm assuming that, you know, it was a one-off book. He didn't do multiple interiors, but the interiors were just fucking gorgeous. And his painted style with his aesthetic and his palette that he uses, I thought it was absolutely fascinating. And I remember thinking as I was going through it, because I don't remember the artist's name. There was like a backup artist to the main artist, and the main artist's name is Dale Eaglesham. So I like Dale Eaglesham, but there was a backup artist in several issues, and early in that Hickman run, were it was a horror show on the art, absolute horror show on the interior art. And then there's this Adi Granov, which is gorgeous. So it was so disconcerting to go from Adi Granov to this other backup artist. And I just remember thinking, wouldn't it be amazing for comics if someone like Adi Granov or say Art Germ or Alex fucking Maleev was like a regular artist? I wouldn't give a fuck if the book came out every 9 weeks. I would still buy every goddamn issue. And then they could do 30 fucking variants if it came out every couple months. But I think the interior art, along with the storytelling in comics today, is so horrendous for the most part, that where are you going to get new readers from? I just don't understand how this medium is supposed to capture the next gen of kids when the quality of story, quality of characterization, the fact that it's all talking heads and just people sitting around dinner tables, like who the fuck cares at this point? You're losing everybody in comics. It just can't be a bunch of old fucks like us buying comics. And then, you know, you have no medium at that point. Everyone is manga. Everyone has gone to manga. My kids grew up in a fucking comic house. My own kids don't even read comics. If I can't convert them, how are they going to come on board? Is this going to even survive? Is my business going to exist in 10 years? That's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah, I try to get my kids to read comic books too. They're just more interested in Dogman or
Yeah, the graphic novels, the games. I mean, when you're competing against, iPads and apps and streaming stuff, I mean, you got to have the most compelling shit in the universe. And I often wonder if we had, the classics and of course, everyone's classics are going to be different based on your adolescence and what you had growing up. Mine was the 80s, right? So 80s and early 90s. Let's say even today, let's say you had McFarlane on Spider-Man today. Would it sell anymore? I don't know, because there's such competition in the marketplace for people's eyeballs. Would a McFarlane Spider-Man, would people even give a shit? I mean, new readers. I'm not talking about us. Like, we would flip out. But would something like that even hit today with new people? Like the thing I like about the Absolute Universe and that Scott Snyder interview that he did with Casually Comics, I loved his energy. I loved his positivity. I love the fact that he's going in with creators and he's trying to fix the broken shit, right? He's the guy on the side of the road that pulled over to help the lady with the flat tire. That's the way I look at Scott Snyder and his role at DC. He, by his account anyway, is trying to fix these things. To the extent that he's going to be able to do that, I don't know. I don't know what kind of authority he has to go in editorially as like, maybe like almost like, it almost sounds like he's an EIC, that he's coming in as like the editor-in-chief to try to fix the whole line. But I do like the fact that he's able to confront these creators about the deficiencies in their process and in their final product. Because I think that's the problem now with editors at these major books. I think the culture on the whole today is very conflict averse. And I talk with my wife about this all the time. My children are very conflict averse, which is crazy coming from a guy who worked the docks in Camden City in New Jersey and was a police officer for 30 years. I think the fact that my kids are conflict averse is maybe a failure on my part. But culturally, no one, everyone walks on eggshells around everybody else. And I feel like maybe the editors don't have enough balls to confront a creator and say, this is not exactly what I want. I have to do that as a producer retailer. So I always make the distinction. I'm not an LCS guy. The products that I sell come out of my head, and I collaborate with my creator friends to produce, the covers. Obviously, I have nothing to do with the interiors, but if an artist comes back with something that I'm not happy with, I have to say, hey, I love the effort here. Maybe change the angle, change the positioning, change the perspective, change the character maybe sometimes. And then if the artist gets butthurt, I'm sorry, I'm trying to produce a product here, And I think that maybe is part of the problem with the editorial process for art and also for storytelling. I just think that the editors maybe the problem is they're just fucking cowards. I don't know.
Yeah, everybody wants to be everybody's best friend these days.
That's it. Yep.
It's funny. I have an artist and I have a colorist who work for me, who have done work for me, and both of them said, "Man, when you don't like something, you don't soften the blow at all." And both of them told me, like, I sent you something and you literally went, "Oh, I hate this. I hate this so much." They're like, but then you told me why you hated it. You were able to articulate what you didn't like about it and then make recommendations. I was like, oh, this is what he wants. He wants to go in this direction. And this is what okay. They were like, you're able to explain yourself clearly, but it's you have to have that boldness if you're going to make a superior product. And that's what everybody in the industry should be trying to do, is make a superior product. But we've got an entire industry of lackluster, good enough for who it's for kind of, creatives.
I do. That's a great point. I do feel like these people are just box checkers. Did we get the script in? Yes. Did we get the line work in? Yes. Send it off to the inker, send it off to the colorist. Like, I think that's what we have today. And I think we need people to step the fuck up, because like I said, you're competing with a million free apps, games. My son could give two shits about comics. I've tried to give him comics. He doesn't care. My young son, I have an older son too, but my older son reads Japanese manga. So I lost both of them. I lost one to an iPad. I lost the other one to Japanese art and storytelling.
We do have Dylan Lindsay, member of the channel memberships for 1 month. Thank you very much. I hope you're enjoying it. Hi, all. Just wanted to say that Wes has been killing it with the videos lately. Hope you all have a fantastic weekend.
Indeed.
Some people like your historical videos, Wes, going back and examining how did we get here by, learning from the past. I know it's a crazy idea, and I know that some people don't like it, but, there's a lot to be learned from. Yeah, it's
because I've got about 20 more of them planned.
Oh, good.
I hope it works.
That's right. Keep it going.
So I appreciate the feedback, Dylan, and working very hard to up the quality of the production and be more laser focused on what I'm talking about. And I appreciate the support, brother. We did have a very interesting thing that came out. I did make a video, and I probably should have, but originally Marvel and Webtoons announced that there were going to be Marvel comics available on Webtoons, but now Marvel have a stake in Webtoons itself, and they are creating a platform together that will not only have vertical scrolling web comics, but we'll also have Marvel traditional style comic books. And it's going to be a new platform that apparently, if you have Disney Plus and stuff, it will come along with that. And I think this is probably the smartest thing I've heard Marvel Comics do in probably 10 or 15 years, John. I was very excited about this. It was like, finally, they realized we can't do digital on our own. Let's go get somebody else that knows how to do it. It's been successful, and see if we can integrate the two.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It's, you have to sub out what is not your core competency in business, right? So how businesses become successful is they laser focus in on their core competency, and they bet everything in on that. And then they double down and triple down and quadruple down. But that's not their core competency. Their core competency is producing quality comic books, and they suck at that. Right. So what would make them think, hey, we're not even good at producing compelling stories and art at this point? What would make them think that they would be good at digital distribution? So I think it's a smart move from that way. The first thing I thought about is, as always, I wish they put this much thought and care into the books themselves, that they're trying to do with. We talked about this week also, Wes, with the, the proliferation of Marvel produced variant covers. It's a sales gimmick at the end of the day, when they're producing all these variant covers. So I said, instead of, sales will take care of themselves if your stories are bangers, right? If your art is hitting, and if the stories are compelling, sales will take care of themselves. So I think that's the number one thing they should be focused on, is story and art. And but this is a close second, right? How to get more books into hands of new readers, and this is the best way to probably one of the best ways to do that.
So yeah, I was pretty excited about this. What do you think, Dylan? Are you going to be converted over to a digital guy? If maybe there's a Marvel Webtoons combined platform that's $3 or $4 a month instead of $20.
I mean, it's not going to convert me because I don't really care about digital, but I think it's smart. I think it's a good idea because there's a lot of people that do want it, and I think throwing it with Disney Plus is smart as well. Like, that's something that I wish they would do with HBO Max. If they would just put in like DC Infinite with that, like that'd be smart. Just throw it in there. You get more people reading comics, and then maybe eventually actually going out and buying these things. Like, I think it's a good idea.
So glad they decided to do the idea that I talked about on this channel 3-4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You said Marvel should buy up part of Webtoons?
No. I said that they should be putting comics on. You should be able to access it from Disney Plus. You should be able to access your, the comic library from Max. There should be crossover there.
They tried to do that with DC Universe, and streaming shows, and some of the old movies on one platform. But once DC and Warner Brothers became Warner Brothers Discovery, and they were going to do Max, they moved it all over to that, but dropped the DC stuff.
Yeah, they didn't have enough content to do a DC only streaming service. That was the problem. It was stupid. It was like, pay like $9 for just DC stuff. You don't have enough to justify that.
Yeah. But it's a cool idea. I really like the concept, Aaron. I would like it even better if when you watched, your Iron Man 2 or whatever, it says, hey, story elements come from this Demon in a Bottle run on or on Iron Man. Hit this button and it'll bring up the comic book, because I do think once you get people into the medium and they discover how great it is, they want to go into the shops, and they want to get, some of those people are going to convert into being big time collectors and speculators and stuff.
Maybe that would be a good job for Tom Brevoort, is move him over into that. Like, all you're doing is looking at the catalog we have on here, and you're curating which books they should read, based on this movie that tie into this movie. That would be a good job for him to decide that. He could not be a public face of anything, which is, fantastic. And he could just run out the clock on his career.
But it's certainly done wonders, Doc, for Invincible. But that's because the Invincible cartoon is so in line with the actual comic book series that people want to continue the story, know that I can go get the fucking omnibus.
Yeah, exactly. Integrating it like that has worked very, very well for Invincible, but they learned their lesson from manga, where it's mostly in line. I mean, it's not as, panel for panel as manga to anime is, but fuck Amber, but it's significantly better than the level of egotism that's involved with Hollywood interpreting from comics. So it does work out well, and it's something that Marvel and DC should have been looking at doing years ago. I mean, it's anybody with any sort of business acumen recognizes that the first thing you want to do is limit the amount of barriers you're putting between people consuming one version of your product and then getting them to consume a different version of the same product. It should be common sense to anyone. But remember, this is a publishing industry that doesn't think that a newsstand market really makes sense, and that they should only cater to very small number of niche stores that most people don't recognize even exist. So business acumen and comics are oil and fucking water.
True.
Yeah. So Dylan, I know you're the younger guy on here. They did the DC animated universe, where they basically try to walk through like the New 52, right?
Yeah, except they butchered like every single story and then tried to do it
If they
accurate at
hadn't
all.
butchered it, if they had stayed true to the New 52, I bet you the sales on New 52 trades and like collections would be so much higher.
I agree. If they would have just done an accurate Court of Owls instead of randomly making it a Damian Wayne story, that was. And then they tried to incorporate non-New 52 stories into it, like Death of Superman and Hush. They were like, we're gonna
Red
make
Hood.
those New 52 stories. It was so weird. It was
Didn't fit.
butchered it so bad. But yeah, if they would have followed the New 52 stories, because as much as we look back in the New 52 and there's a lot of stuff that wasn't great, there were a lot of really good stories told in there too that they could have easily done, but they butchered them.
I think that they had just been consistent and mostly faithful to what the New 52 was. Maybe take an opportunity here or there to maybe fix something that definitely didn't work, and just walked it through. I bet you, like there would be, what do they call it? What do you call it, Sully? Syzygy? Syzygy?
Syzygy, corporate syzygy. When syzygy is when you have a planetary alignment. That's syzygy. When you have all your planets. So when you line up your different, your mass media on the same page.
See, here's the problem, Sully. All their recommendations was syzygy. They heard scissoring and just hired lesbians.
Well, syzygy is when you just line up all the unqualified lesbians that you've hired to write your
Yes.
comic books for men.
Guys.
Kalichioki makes a great point also that they started this at the end of the New 52. So not the best synergy to start the New 52 movies at the end.
To do animation, it's like a publishing initiative is failing as we just put all this work into all this animation.
But I bet you if Marvel or DC said, but you know what, let's just go back and we're going to pick a period in time. If I'm Marvel, I'm going back to like 1982 or 1983. And then play out the Marvel story, get the greatest hits. And what are people going to do when they start getting the greatest hits? You start filling in the blanks. The filling in the blanks is the fucking comic books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do I go after Daredevil Born Again? You keep reading the fucking Frank Miller run because it keeps going on and it's really good.
Well, I know for a fact a lot more people read Under the Red Hood after that movie came out. That movie was great. And it got a lot of people interested. And that was when DC's animated movies were at their best, when they did the greatest hits. When here's Under the Red Hood, here's Year One, here's All-Star Superman. Like,
I love
that was
it.
when it was best.
Like Judd Winnick got to adapt his own story.
Yes.
And he didn't have to use Superboy Prime punches to justify the resurrection of Jason Todd. It was a lot more elegant and simple. It was Ra's al Ghul who just was like, no, detective, I felt bad. It was my fault. Therefore, I throw him in a Lazarus pit. Boom! Very simple, very elegant, very in universe. No Superboy Prime punches, which I like. Don't get me wrong. He's like one of my favorite characters. But that just works a hell of a lot better for Jason Todd's resurrection.
Well, if you're bringing in, you're just doing a single movie and people are only going to watch that movie, you don't want to have to explain that Superboy Prime was punching the walls and it was reverberating throughout reality and changing things. Like, normies are going to go, what? It's just much simpler to do. Ra's al Ghul, put him in the Lazarus pit, and here you go. And it's actually the only thing that Judd Winnick's ever done that I liked. So, there's that too.
That movie's freaking good. They added some stuff to it.
Oh, no.
I like
The only thing I didn't like is John DiMaggio as the Joker.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought he did a
You
good
wanted
job.
him
Not
on
my
that,
favorite Joker, but I thought he did a good job.
He did a good job, but it was just too Bender for me. Like, it's like there comes a point where it's like, now John DiMaggio can do different voices and he did alter it, enough, but I could still hear too much Bender, and Bender was just like too much in my mind. So I understand that's a me problem and not a John DiMaggio problem. It's not like, Mark Hamill, who can only do one voice and shows up and does one voice and it's the Joker no matter what character it is. Wow. But, I did hear a little too much Bender in it.
DiMaggio's like in my top 5 Jokers, man. Seriously.
Really?
I loved his portrayal. It was like, he was so sinister.
Well, how many Jokers are there?
Oh,
He's in your top 5, but how many are there?
Cesar Romano at number 1.
Romero.
these are cheap.
Yeah, Ray Romano's, untold brother, Caesar Romano.
Caesar Amalgam.
Imagine, now I'm thinking about Ray Romano voicing Joker.
Yeah, I love Ray Romano as the Joker.
Mark Hamill, he's like still great. You know what I mean? Gee, I mean,
Troy Baker's better.
I think Mark Hamill's by far the best Joker. I like Troy Baker's Joker, but Mark
Well,
Hamill's
Troy Baker's
best.
doing Mark Hamill's Joker. I've always said Troy Baker makes better decisions with the material because he is a better actor. Where he puts
Sully-
the emphasis and things like that is
Sully, we know Jared Leto's on your list, so you can just.
I thought Leto did a decent job. He's a method actor, man.
Mm.
He wasn't that. I mean,
Not if
He was
In
he's
only
that
in
movie,
movie.
he was a meth head actor.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
I will say that as far as what little he was in the Suicide Squad, and I would like to see the air cut to see what that movie could have been. I'm always interested in alternate versions of films, before studios get in there and do their thing. I will say that what little he was in that film, when he was on screen, I was very uneasy. And I thought that was a good thing. You should feel uneasy when the Joker's on screen. Aside from that, I didn't love it. And then when they put him in Zack Snyder's Justice League recut, I hated him. So I thought he looked stupid. I thought the lines were stupid. I thought everything that they did with him was dumb. So it's a hit or miss for me with Leto.
Leto's pretty much a miss for me these days. He makes me not want to watch a Tron movie, and I actually like the Tron movies.
Yeah.
He makes me not want to watch a Tron movie, and that's hard. That's hurtful because I want to watch a Tron movie. I want to see a sequel to Tron Legacy. That's what I want. Why are you giving me this instead?
We're giving you the movie that undercuts the entire finale of Tron Legacy.
Do you think that they could maybe work on putting some Tron back into their Tron movies? I'd really like to see some Tron in there.
No.
Why if they're going to do it, why isn't it a sequel to Tron Legacy?
Maybe they get Tron from the Chappelle Show. That would be funny.
They were like, we kind of wanted to do our own thing, and some of the actors didn't want to come back. And I'm like, oh, did they not want to come back? They're like, who? Like, you got Jeff Bridges back. He's at least in a cameo.
Yeah.
So it's not him.
Olivia Wilde has how much she's doing, and the dude that played Sam.
Yeah,
I
Gary
don't know
Oldman.
what the fuck's he been in?
Yeah, it's like, and so like the
Pretty
only
sure
person
he's-
I can think of, I'm pretty sure Bruce Boxleitner would come back. Pretty sure he'd do it. Did you even ask him? I don't think you asked him because I don't think you ever plan on having Tron in your Tron movie. We're gonna move on with this young go-getter, 50-something-year-old Jared Leto. Now I know
actually like the Blade Runner sequel movie, but he's the only thing I don't like about it.
yeah, he's generally like he's in a lot of stuff where I'm like, oh, he's the thing I don't like about this.
Yeah. What do you think, Sully? You probably would love a Blade Runner. Did you like the sequels?
That Blade Runner 2049 was 2/3 of a really good Blade Runner story. It completely derails in the third act, especially once we get Harrison Ford back in this story. I mean, it goes nowhere. It could have been a better movie. It was just about Kay.
They needed to cut 45 minutes of nonsense in the middle.
Yeah, the whole hybrid child thing, even if it was a hybrid child, it doesn't even approach Deckard being a replicant, which I don't think he is. That's just my humble opinion, because I'm a huge Blade Runner original fan. Rutger Hauer says it in his autobiography. If Deckard is a replicant, what does this make it? Just a puppet show, right?
Mhm.
You know. So I mean, I'm on Team Human when it comes to Deckard.
I agree.
Yeah. It was a beautiful movie, though. It literally is 2/3 of a great Blade Runner story.
Definitely captured the tone and feel of Blade Runner.
Best acting of Batista's career. There's a lot of subtlety in his performance just in that little bit.
I'm having internet issues again, fellas.
Ah.
Oh my goodness,
Oh no, Wes.
we got you back. Don't worry.
All right,
Am
it's
I
the
good now?
Doc show. Doc, take the lead.
theory.
You know
Here's
what
my
Doc
theory.
does.
Wes
Doc
loves
does
it.
not take the wheel.
Wes loves it when Doc takes the wheel.
Here's my theory. Okay, when it comes to Ridley Scott saying that Deckard was a replicant, he was releasing the directors and final cuts of his own movie. That's just, I think he was just pimping his product. He manufactured some controversy and some interest to perpetually sell the new version of it. Now I know he did film a unicorn scene back in 1981, sure, and that got cut out.
No, that's from Legend. That's clipped out of Legend.
That's what I've heard that, but also, I mean, I'm just a big fan of the original one with the gumshoe narration. and the happy ending. And the happy ending was actually cut scenes from the opening of The Shining as well. You know, the lush verdants, the greens, and but I think Ridley Scott is a brilliant media director, and he did that on purpose to, you know, now you have this controversy. Now people
are still talking about it.
Yeah. Exactly.
What do you think, Dylan? You're the younger generation. What do you guys think? Is Deckard a fucking replicant or not?
I don't know. I've seen both Blade Runner movies, and they're fine. I just never really got super into them. I just never got super into them. And I think the second one is a great nap movie. 2049 is the perfect nap movie. You watch that, you got the rain, you got the blah. It's great. It's perfect for a nap movie.
And you wake up and it's just time for the ending.
Yeah, and it's still going on.
That movie puts me to sleep in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Did you read the comic books?
No, I've not read them.
There's actually some pretty good comics from Titan there for a minute. But I don't know. The longest thing, though, is Dylan, I was working in Korea, and it was New Year's Eve, and I was taking a shift for somebody, and I was like, I'm going to watch the Lord of the Rings Extended Edition trilogy, you know, because I've got 12 hours of going to celebrate. By the time the people came in to relieve me, there was still an hour left.
Yeah.
The trilogy is over 12 hours long.
Yeah, I've seen the extended editions in theaters. I watched when they count like a year or two ago. They released them in theaters, and they played one each day. And yeah, it was a long time.
I was gonna say, did they give you intermission to go get something to eat or something?
Yeah, no. The longest movie I've seen in theaters was I watched Lawrence of Arabia, and they gave you a 15-minute intermission for that because I was like over 5 hours, so they gave you like a little intermission. But that was awesome. That was an experience.
That was great.
Yeah, it was really cool to see that on the big screen. But the extended editions are a lot. There's there gets to a point where some, like I think Fellowship does a great job with the extended editions. The next two, there are a few scenes where it's like, did we really? I know this is extended, but did we really need this? Especially because Return of the King already has like 15 endings.
Exactly.
And you're adding even more, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's taking a while. Great though. Still enjoying.
Can you imagine if they throw fucking Tom Bombadil into Fellowship though?
Ooh. That would have been better. I mean, I watched the extended cuts.
Have you read the book?
Yeah.
That is the biggest atrocity in the history of literature.
Cutting out Tom Bombadil, right?
No, Tom Bombadil being in the book. He should have cut all of that out. It achieved nothing. It's 100 pages of garbage, of poetry and singing.
I've only read the books recently. Who's the who did Gollum? Help me out. Circus. He reads it on the unabridged audiobook, and it's just wonderful. This guy, I'm so impressed with his range, and it was just a wonderful experience reading. You know, having these audiobooks read to me by Circus. That was awesome. But I do the extended cuts yearly, and I do it either on Christmas or on Thanksgiving, depending on which one I'm home alone. We started at 8 a.m. and it finishes up about 9:30 p.m. and I watch it with the cast commentary tracks, which is amazing. You have Christopher Lee on that stuff. You have all four Hobbits, and they are like that with each other in real life. And it's a really enriching part.
Everybody knows you make a good stew with this rabbit. Is that what they say?
They were like, remember that game? They faked out Elijah. Elijah was like, "What's this game you're playing?" And they were like, "Oh, it's like, here you go." And they made up this thing, and they were just goofing on him. And but my favorite was Christopher Lee, and he's got this anecdote about working with the guy who played Grey Worm, and it's Brad Dourif, and he's like, "And I'm going to come up behind you, and I'm going to stab you." And he's like, "Yes, Mr. Dourif, I know how to do a death scene." It's just great Christopher Lee, man. I love it, man.
That dude played the voice of Chucky. Not Christopher Lee, but the guy that played
Brett Dourif.
Wormtongue or whatever.
He's amazing in Deadwood. If you ever catch HBO's Deadwood, he plays the doctor. It's a great role.
Yeah. No, he's I mean, this is a pretty famous story, but Peter Jackson's like, okay, he's going to come up, he's going to stab you from behind, and you're going to go, ah! And Christopher Lee's like, that's not the sound a man makes when, I'm sorry, I'm not doing my best Christopher Lee.
It's because he was in World War II.
Yeah, it's because he actually killed Nazis. That guy was a Nazi hunter. And he's like, when a man is stabbed in the, And he like told him, it's like, this is the noise that he would make. And Peter Jackson said he was impressed, but also terrified for a moment.
People are saying that I hate Ryan Reynolds in the chat. That is not true. I like Ryan Reynolds. I loved him in Van Wilder. I liked him in Two Guys, a Girl in a Pizza Shop.
Waiting?
I liked him in Deadpool, but I didn't like him in Deadpool 2.
Yeah. What was wrong with Deadpool 2?
Waiting was fine.
Everything.
Yeah, that's another good movie.
The
idea
fat child
that I
was the
don't
problem
like
with
Ryan
Deadpool
Reynolds?
too.
Yeah, that was really the problem, is that kid from the Wicker People, like, oh
Yes.
God, he was, and then trying to make him Rusty Collins.
Yeah,
It's just like, oh, come on.
it was during the hey, let's stick fat kids in this as superheroes because that's totally believable.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't hate Ryan Reynolds. I think he's pretty funny. In fact, I think Two Guys, a Girl in a Pizza Shop is completely
Pizza place.
underrated. Pizza place.
I still
And it's
have
just two guys and a girl.
I'm just going to correct everybody today.
our editor.
My favorite
in-house.
thing is for the first 2 or 3 seasons, he's trying to date this girl that's in his medical school or whatever, and she will never give him the time of day. And when she finally says yes to Ryan Reynolds' character, he's like, you know what? I'm just not interested. Because he finally got what he wanted. And he was just doing that. And then she made him date him. Or date her.
And then that girl ended up on Monk for like the last couple seasons.
I never saw Monk. Was that a good show?
People liked it. I never really watched.
My dad liked it. I'll put it
Oh,
that way.
It's like,
now Aaron freezing up. Gee.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
You know what I
Oh,
didn't
man,
like?
my
Sons
back.
of Anarchy.
Yes.
What I was promised in that first season and what it ended up happening by the end, 2 different things.
well, life doesn't always go the way you expect, Wes.
That's not how stories go. He was supposed to fix the gang and get them on the straight and narrow, not make them worse after fucking Cro-Magnon man is no longer in charge.
Well, he did get him on the straight and narrow, and then he had to die to protect
Yeah.
all of it.
I mean, like, look at the end of, How I Met Your Mother. I mean, what a great show. And then you get that finale. And I'm like, WTF. This is what we waited for all of these years? Holy.
Did you like that one, or did you like Lost finale better?
I love the Lost finale. I got the Lost finale. The Lost finale is
Are you
actually...
saying I didn't get it?
I don't know. Do you like Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion?
Too, Damon Lindelof is a hack and couldn't finish off any of the mysteries that the writers set up in the first couple seasons, which
It felt like
Paul
he
Dini
said,
told me they had answers for. Paul Dini said they had answers for all of the things that they were setting up, and then when Lindelof and Cuse came in, they just, no, that's not really what the show's about. It's not really about paying things off. Mystery
Right.
boxes are great, but you don't have to pay them off.
Well, Lindelof was there from the beginning. He
Yeah,
was the creator.
yeah, but he was one of the guys. But you get, when you become a showrunner, as opposed to just like one of the guys in the writing room, or like when you get that more power, and it just turns out that you don't have anything, creatively to bring to the table, which we've seen from him repeatedly now over the years with the Watchmen show, with Prometheus.
Right.
He's got nothing. And now he's I'm not going to work for Disney until they bring back Jimmy Kimmel. It's like Disney's like, thanks, awesome.
Yeah, I felt it was more of a Abrams problem on there, but I liked the end of Lost. Now,
Yeah.
here's the
It's
thing.
fine from a character perspective. It wrapped up all the characters that you liked.
Here's the thing with Lost. The problem was that they needed to get to the same ending in a different way than the way that they originally planned, because everybody guessed it halfway through season 1
Mm-hmm.
that they were dead the whole time. So they still needed to get to there, but had to go a different route there, and it ended up adding unnecessary complications. Then, honestly, I think one of the worst additions to the writer's room of that was Brian K. Vaughan.
Mm.
I think you're right.
He added all kinds of additional friggin' mystery into seasons 4, 5, and 6, especially with and we never got really an answer about the temple people.
Yeah.
Who the
Well,
fuck are they?
The Dharma Initiative, they never really fleshed that out. We didn't know why the island could move. Like, there's just the smoke monster. They kind of explained it. I think once they killed off John Locke, the show was done though. Like, once
he was
they
the star of the show.
yeah, he really was. He was the
They
best.
made him the
character on
bad
there.
guy.
Mm-hmm.
But my wife recently watched. She'd never seen Lost, and by the time she got to the end, I was like, "Did you like it?" She's like, "No, I didn't enjoy the end of that."
I have a theory though. It's like I could see where they ripped off of this anime called Neon Genesis Evangelion, and they had an original ending where the protagonist Shinji ends up like accepting something called instrumentality, and then you see all the souls with them right at the end being like, welcome, you're not going to be alone anymore. And I was like, holy shit, Lost is ripping off Evangelion, the original ending. And I'm like, I get it.
Yeah. But the biggest disappointment is Game of Thrones, the end.
Oh yeah, hugely disappointing.
Yeah, I think Me Too really ruined that show, to be honest. Besides that, and Westworld. I mean,
I think that Lindelof and or not Lindelof. Who are the guys on?
Right?
And Weiss, yeah. Like they just without the books, they didn't have anything.
Story.
They even said like there was even a thing where they're like, well, we don't really know how to run a show. It was like, what do you guys? You guys been faking it pretty good when you had like Martin's scripts.
And they were all happy to run off to their Star Wars trilogy they had going on. So they're just like, let's wrap this up.
Have you ever seen the pitch meeting with Ryan George where they're like, he's like, give people wrap up all these plot lines in just 8 episodes? And they're like, you know what do we get? What do we do? We've only got eight episodes. We just got to do it. And he's like, in the HBO, as the producer, the HBO guy's like, you can have more. And they're like, oh, we've only got 8 episodes. It's just got to be done.
Yeah. Jon Snow not ended up being the king was an enormous disappointment.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to pay off what you set up from the very first season.
I wanted to see his hair turn white like a Targaryen, and that was a glamour that was put on him as a kid to protect his identity, and that he got like purple eyes and that platinum hair at the end.
I wanted very different things from Game of Thrones.
I wanted the Night King to do something and actually be a threat that was built up the whole time, and it was like all this stuff happening down south doesn't matter because the Night King's coming and the White Walkers are here. Winter's coming. This is going to be bad. And it's like, oh, he gets defeated instantly. It's not a big deal. That was supposed to be the big threat.
I wanted Cersei to not just get killed in a rock slide.
Or Jaime became my favorite character in that show, and them to undo all of his character progression pissed me off so much.
Yeah.
He was such a great character.
He should have killed Cersei. It should have mirrored the Mad King. He should have been, he's still in love with her, whatever. He's still got that, he's there, and he's like, what, and then she's basically going down the same road. She's going to burn everything, and Jaime has to kill her. It's a nice little
great idea.
The equal opportunity king and queen slayer would have been great. That would have been, Instead,
that he could have been with the big woman.
Yeah, been good.
It only made sense. Oh, that. Let's hear it for the peoples. Doomed Huh says Betsy is the real Psylocke.
Got that right.
Yep.
Yeah.
There, as I've said before, you have Betsy's character and personality, well, part of her personality and her connection with Brian and the Captain Britain stuff but she's totally separate from it. And you had the cool part of her, which was her being an Asian assassin in the wrong body with fucking robot eyes that connect to Mojo.
Mm-hmm.
That made the character cool. Pre that, Psylocke was kind of, I don't know, mediocre at best. Now they added all the worst, and then they introduced Quanon years later. Nobody gave a fuck about that character. There's a reason why she was in like 3 issues of the Adjectiveless X-Men book during Fabian's run, and no one was really that interested in ever seeing her come back. And then she didn't. Because no one was interested in Quanon. So, we were all happy with this. Mm-hmm. But, Matthew Rosenberg had to, I don't know, undo cultural appropriation, that the Asian artist did in the first place.
Wrap it up, Doc.
Doc, I have a question for Doc, though, real quick, Doc. Remind me, when Psylocke got put into Quanon's body, did she still have the robot eyes, or were they gone at that point? Mojo couldn't access her anymore.
No. When she got the robot eyes when she got put into Psylocke's body, because she only Quanon's body, because she only got into that because I guess Mojo actually intercepted her, or Spiral intercepted her, brought her to the body shop, and did the swap there. That's why she ended up in Quanon's body.
Okay.
And installed the robot eyes.
For some reason, I remember her having the robot eyes beforehand, because I distinctly remember some Alan Davis art where she's, in her, very like pink outfit from when she first came out of the X-Men, getting the eye implants. So
yeah, and they may have already put them in her, but then they moved them over to the new body too.
Makes sense.
Udin the time to make a Tron sequel was around Uprising, a great animated spin-off, but a decade later, Ares is simply the wrong sequel at the wrong time.
With the wrong lead.
It's the wrong sequel because it literally undermines the end of the last movie. The whole last movie was about keeping the Tron universe from being able to get to ours. And then it's just like, oh, and now they're in ours. Well, guess I wasted 2 hours of my life.
Yeah. Did anybody watch Tron Uprising? I know I've seen it on Disney Plus. Is it good? Sully,
I've never
you got
seen
a stink face. It looks like you saw it.
No, I kind of avoided it because it looked like, too much like Reboot, that old TV show Reboot.
Reboot's awesome. How can you disparage Reboot?
They'd already did it right the first time. I'm a little.
I might have to check that out because I do
Tron's
love me
got a
some
special
Tron.
place in my heart.
I remember the handheld game where you could play frisbee and stuff with it.
Yeah, the Tomy one that was a little like
Yes,
plastic.
it was
I had
amazing.
that. Oh my gosh, that thing! Yeah.
All those
That
Tomy
game was better
games.
than Arkham Asylum.
Mm.
I remember it being amazing. I could play that thing for hours straight. Garfield's Bizarre Adventure. Deadpool is oversaturated. Same with Harley Quinn. They were fun, niche characters that are now being thrust into the spotlight for too long.
Just imagine if they did if the crossover was Deadpool Harley Quinn, and how annoying that would be.
Oh gosh, it'd be another fartacular. Well, this is the problem: is that it's not just that they're oversaturated; it's that they're oversaturated with terrible creative. Like they give these characters to the worst possible writers.
They truly do. Like the ones with the most insufferable senses of humor.
Yeah.
Well, Deadpool's just a hard character to get right. There's only been like 2 or 3 people that have even done the character justice writing wise.
100%. Yeah.
It's like Remender, Kelly?
Joe Kelly, Rick Remender, and
Fabian Nicenza.
Fabian. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
So,
Wow.
It's a hard character. But he's definitely oversaturated.
And honestly, who's gotten Harley right?
Well,
Dini.
Paul Dini.
Paul Dini. Who wrote it when the Dodsons were on art?
Kiesel. Carl Kiesel.
Carl Kessel.
Mhm.
Okay.
A lot of people like the Palmiani stuff, but a lot of people also say that's when Harley Quinn starts to go down hard.
Well, it's definitely when she gets the uglier costume, like the New 52 stuff. I mean, I think that Palmiotti's Harley Quinn is more fondly remembered for Amanda Connor's art than it is for the writing.
Yeah, pretty much. I agree.
Jose the Beast says, "Happy Batman Day." Well, happy
Happy
Batman Day to you
Batman
too, sir.
To the bat holes.
Has
We need a
anybody
Spider-Man Day?
has anybody seen the DC Comics December 2025 solicitations yet?
No.
No.
Oh,
So you know what I'm talking about, John? They spoil all like half of the first round fights in the DCKO tournament.
Oh wait, yeah, I did see those posted. Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't see
I
that.
was
Yeah.
so fucking mad, and I'm supposed to have this thing where I give like $200 away for the best bracket, and now I don't know what to do because half the first round's already been like spoiled.
Was I
Yeah,
right?
I saw it because they're like blah 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 versus redacted, blah blah
Yes.
versus redacted. It's like, yeah, but we still know who won the other fight.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but it's
yeah.
giving you half the winner.
Yeah. I saw
And then
that.
if you read the solicitation, we're like going against a longtime villain or going against a surprise entrance. We're like, okay, whoever the other person that would be surprising is the one that won.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe they did it.
It's ridiculous.
The
Yeah,
coolest thing is the tournament bracket.
Yes. Surprise and spoiling. They just can't help themselves.
No, that's the first thing I thought. They can't help them fucking selves. It's crazy. I mean, you have again you have this great opportunity with the crossover, and I do agree with Sully. It's a fun thing to do. It is a fun book. It's lighthearted. I think sometimes I'm looking for a little bit too much meat on the bone when it comes to Marvel and DC because I have high standards because I started reading books in the 80s, I guess. So I guess my standards are just way too fucking high. But the DCKO, I think Scott Snyder, I'm a Scott Snyder fan. I do think he approaches comics in the right way with the sensibility of, trying to attract new readers in at the same time, giving longtime readers what they really want. Like that's what he was going for with the DCKO, like a Saturday morning type of vibe. Let's just have these fuckers beat each other up and see who wins. Like that's a fun comic book shop conversation. And that's kind of from what he's saying, the genesis of his idea for the event. And I do like the fact that he talks about, and I guess maybe you guys would know if this is true. I don't have a whole lot of contact with LCS owners, but the Absolute Universe does seem to be bringing in new readers. I just hired a new guy at my shop, and he said, I'm a newer comic book fan, and I came in. I was kind of a casual reader until the Absolute stuff, and now I'm every week. I'm buying Absolute books. I buy all three, and he's all in on the Absolute stuff. And I do think that's
I've heard that from a retailer, but I've heard it from other retailers. It wasn't quite like the DC fans just went to Absolute. Is where they saw it. But,
okay. Yeah, I mean, I've heard Scott say that he did a curbside interview at a convention where he said he's talking to LCS owners, and I'm hoping that's true and that's not just some self-promotion there. But I want new people to come in. I think one of the coolest things that they could do, with the Absolute stuff is if they did, maybe not with this level of budget and animation, but like a K-pop Demon Hunters type of movie, like an animated movie for Absolute Batman, and do the first arc, and that's your first movie, and have some of that that more Asian style animation, because one of the cool things that I really liked about again going back to K-pop Demon Hunters again for some reason,
good.
I do think it's a very cool superhero movie. I do think they get the female characters right. They're not just girl bosses. They have character arcs. They have deficiencies. They have flaws. They have weaknesses. They're exploited. They experience some defeat. They come back from it. So I like all that stuff. But I think if they did they incorporated some elements of anime into an Absolute Batman animated movie, you could bring so many new people in on something like that. And then you could clip it for TikTok. You could clip it for Reels on Instagram. You can clip it for YouTube. I mean, that's where you're going to reach these audiences. Like, I do like the Webtoons digital stuff, but I think the other way you have to do it is you have to do it organically, right? So you have to reach new people organically on TikTok. I mean, all my kids are on TikTok. I don't even know how to fucking do one. I have the app. I don't even know how to do a fucking TikTok post. I can do Instagram because I'm 51 years old and I'm barely young enough to be able to do that. But I do think if you want to reach newer people, you have to have some animated stuff to go along with the print. And then you do these little clips, you do reels, and I think you're going to reach a much wider audience. I think the spinner rack in the convenience store is how reels is today for people, on Instagram, on YouTube. Facebook has a lot of that stuff these days. And I do think if you want to reach new people, I think that's another thing in addition to the Webtoons platform. The Webtoons platform is a destination. People are going to casually scroll through as they're going through their Disney Plus app or whatever. But I do think these things popping up on social media platforms in the form of like little animated clips would really bring people in. One of the things I liked about K-pop Demon Hunters is a lot of traditional animation, but then it would pop over into anime stuff. Like, so when one of the girls sees one of the guys in the boy band and his shirt pops and she sees his abs, her eyes turn into like popcorn, very, very, anime type stuff. And the popcorn is popping out of her eyeballs and the other girl is eating it out of a bowl. So it's very, this is absurd type of stuff, but I think that stuff worked. It captured my attention when I was watching. I'm like, that's a really cool animated effect right there.
Jose to B says the owners at my LCS are saying that DC Compact Comics are reaching old and new readers at a reasonable price, while Marvel trade prices are atrocious.
Well, the compact is getting close to manga, so it's a format that new readers
and price. It's manga, yeah.
Yep. So it's and we talked. That's another thing that we recommended years ago. We said that companies should be doing, and they're still not doing it the way that we suggested that they should do it, but at least they're doing
First
something.
volumes of all the Absolute Universe books should have come out DC compact comic format on day one, along with the trades.
Yep,
they would have
absolutely
blown up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what's the disconnect? I mean, Wes or anybody really, what if we can see this, what the fuck is the problem at the publishing level? What is the roadblock preventing these things from happening?
Well, look at the people that they have in charge. They've got guys like Tom Brevoort, they've just got like how to touch people, that are part of their command structure. And like Doc said, they are absolutely allergic to any kind of business acumen. This is the way we've always done it, so we'll just continue to do this. And then, marketing comes in with an idea, and they kind of like half-ass try to do it.
It's probably this. It's probably if we released a compact comic on day one, no one will buy the trade. And the trade is $20 instead of $10. If we do it and then we do it 6 months later, we'll get double purchases.
Well,
it's 700 people will buy the trade at $20 versus the many people that we probably could have got into the compact. You have to start thinking. We're going to make the money over quantity, as opposed to
the compact readers a year behind.
Also, here's the other thing. These are people that don't believe the pie is expandable.
Oh, it certainly is.
I understand that. You understand that. You have business acumen, obviously. Most of us here have some degree of it. The publishers believe that it is a finite number and it is shrinking. They are because the alternative is accepting that they've been driving people away.
If they were all short-term thinkers, they don't think anything out long-term. They don't think anything out a year from now or 5 years from now.
Well, like I said, when you got a bunch of people who aren't hungry, who are just in there, obviously C.B. Cebulski's very hungry, Tom Brevoort's very hungry, but not for business, not for comics. It's just guys that are running out the clock on their career. So, what's the point of thinking 5 years ahead? Tom Brevoort, he doesn't want to think about tomorrow, according to his tweets. He can't get out of bed this morning. It's like that's the guy that you want. Like, I used to
DC. This is DC Comics. They got rid of all their Tom Brevoorts. Remember?
Yeah, but I remember when I worked at Boom. When I worked at Boom, our marketing guy would continually say, "Oh, the last good comic that ever came out in the industry was Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol," and I was like, "Oh my God, you're in charge of marketing comics, and you don't think there's anything good after Doom Patrol? What a terrible person to be in charge of this."
Yeah, it's a bunch of nihilistic idiots that have absolutely. I mean, look, I could be pretty nihilistic myself, but it's nihilistic idiots that have no business acumen, that are too egotistical to accept that the pie can get grown back out. They believe that they've utterly convinced themselves that they are literally managing decline. There is no way to recover. And as a result, because if they were to recover, it would be an indictment of all of their creative and business choices over the last 20 years.
So let's start putting a bow on this bad boy. Gets some comic book recommendations. Now, John, I'll let you go first, but you did show me a sneak peek. I don't know if you can talk about it, but you did have like a special 1776 cover.
Oh,
can you even tell people what that thing's all about?
Yeah,
I think you want to know about that one.
This is a really wacky concept. So I don't know all the story points involved, but Marvel's coming out with 1776 issue number 1. And so to give you a little bit of insight as to what I've been trying to do, as far as retailer exclusives go, I come up with an idea for a cover. I look at press releases. I talk to the publishers. Sometimes they'll give me advance notice of a book coming out in the next few months. So I have to get started on a variant cover for a book for my store, a retailer exclusive, about 3 to 4 to maybe 5 months out before release date. That's when I have to start working on it. as far as concept, artist recommendation or choice, character, layout, design, colors, all that type of stuff, print quantities. So I saw the 1776 was coming out. I've been trying desperately to get, just to be transparent, I hope this doesn't get me into trouble, but I work a lot with Image Comics. I do more variant covers for Image than any other retailer on the planet, probably by a long shot. And I do every issue of Transformers. I do a retailer exclusive. Because I'm an 80s kid, I've been doing a lot of 80s retro stuff with Bjorn Barons, Raymond Gay. And I've been trying to get American flags onto the books. I've been trying to get Optimus Prime wrapped in an American flag. I think that would be a cool image to see. I've been trying to get G.I. Joe characters. Same thing. And what I was told with G.I. Joe was we're not allowed to put an American flag on the cover of the book. And I said, in my email response, I said, I don't fucking understand this at all because it's literally called G.I. Joe, a real American hero. So I don't understand. I said, what is the rationale behind that? Could you please enlighten me? And they said, due to the current political climate, we don't want an American flag on the cover of the book. And I don't understand what that sentence even means. I don't understand how the American flag has become persona non grata.
It means we're a bunch of at Hasbro. We've been infected on the corporate level by a bunch of anti-capitalist, America-hating communists. Is
Right.
exactly what it means.
Working for a for-profit company is very ironic, you know.
It wasn't until the last. I think it was Goldner was the last CEO, and he was, actively curtailing them putting out GI Joe toys because he hates the military. He was a far leftist and he hated the military, and he didn't want to glorify the military in any way. So once he died, then at least it the culture changed enough to where they would go, hey, like we're leaving a lot of money on the table. People love GI Joe, and they started making the classified figures and basically doing the doing updated versions of the 3 3/4 figures in 6-inch scale. And it's the most successful thing they have. It is one of the only guaranteed things that funds when they do their HasLabs is a GI Joe vehicle, or like the Hasbro or the Star Wars stuff fails all the time. They failed with the Rancor. They failed with that Reva lightsaber. I think they may have failed with the Republic gunship. It's just like that's so GI Joe is and Transformers is where it's at for them right now. But to hear that is really disheartening. I did not know that.
I tried also to get Optimus Prime with an American flag. I thought that would be a cool cover just to have. I mean, just the concept of it. So I've been looking to do this concept for a while. I've been getting shot down by Image. And I guess like what you're saying, it's coming through Hasbro. That is the final editorial. Like I do every issue of TMNT also, and Nickelodeon has final say on that stuff, what I do over there. So Marvel, I said, okay, cool concept for this would be, who's the flagship? Because I only get one shot at this, right? I can't do multiple covers. I'm not independently wealthy. Just in all transparency, when I do a retailer exclusive for Marvel, it's a $3,000 minimum trade dress and $1,000 minimum virgin. So when I do a cover set, it's about $18,000 for one book. It's not easy to make $17,000 back on one comic. So I'm like, I got one bite at this. Let's do Spidey. He's the flagship character. Let's do the American flag in the background. And Marvel said yes to the concept. So then I was like, all right, I got to pull something in from the American Revolution. I was thinking, well, maybe, my whole family's from South Philly. Maybe we get, Independence Hall in there. Spidey's on top of Independence Hall. And I'm like, nah, that's kind of fucking boring because it's a building. It's going to take up most of the cover. Who gives a shit? And then I'm like, let's just get the top of Independence Hall. I'm like, no one's going to know what the fuck that is. So I was like, all right, the Liberty Bell. Let's get Spidey crouched on the Liberty Bell with some webbing. So that's the cover. That's Pablo Villalobos. That's going to be 1776, issue number 1. I haven't shown this publicly anywhere. But that's a fucking iconic cover in my opinion.
I was going to recommend kind of an homage to that Spider-Man, what was it, 31, the J. Scott Campbell one with him going around the giant web ball that had a couple of guys, but change that out for the Liberty Bell.
Right.
I got a suggestion. What about MJ and a Stars and Stripes bikini? And
you already paid for the cover, guys. What are you talking about? I'm just fucking cover. It's the art.
I regret not getting a Lobos.
I have a suggestion. Can I spend $18,000 more of your dollars?
No, I regret not getting a Lobos cover and banking it back when he was cheap. He's not cheap anymore.
No, thankfully now, like I met Pablo. I don't do conventions. I went to walk around the Fan Expo Philly in 2022. I always go right to Artist Alley. 90% of what's out there, I don't care. I'll buy shirts because I'm a shirt guy. I love T-shirts, but I always go down Artist Alley. I talk to the artists. A lot of them I know. I've worked with them, and I walked by Lobos's table. And it was before he really had any published work out there. He might have had one or two indie covers on titles that I haven't even heard of at that time.
Miss me out.
Yeah. Looking at his pencils, and I'm going, holy shit, man, this is unbelievable. I'm like, show me your whole thing. And I said, I'll introduce myself. I'm John. I'm the owner of the 616 Comics. I do a lot of retail exclusives. He's like, I know who you are. And I started working with him, and over the years, I tried to get him exclusive to me, right? So what that means is that he'll only do retail exclusives for my store. He won't do them for other shops because this is a competitive industry, and there's only so many other shops out there that do retailer exclusives. So it's important to get an artist, if you can, exclusive just to you. I've had a lot of other shops take my artist friends, and then they tie them up with covers, and then I can't work with them on certain covers. So, it's a game. So I try to get artists to work with me exclusively. They still do their Marvel and DC stuff, but like Ivan Talavera is another one that works exclusively with me. And Lobos, thankfully, he worked with a few other retailers over the years, and he said, John, I want to work just with you going forward. So
that's awesome.
I was thrilled. I gave him first crack at this. And Lobos traditionally does a lot of really good pinups. He's great with a female figure, great with faces. But I think he's very underrated as a superhero artist. So I really wanted him on the Spider-Man for 1776 issue 1. So we'll have a 3-cover set for that. I don't traditionally do foils for Marvel because Marvel is prohibitively expensive and the print run minimums are enormous for foils. So for DC, this is a DC foil. This is Batman #1, Tyler Kirkham. This is kind of blasphemous. I have a signed copy from Tyler that I'm using as my reader copy for Batman #1. However, when Tyler sent it back, it has some scuffing on it, and I refuse to sell anything that's noticeably damaged. So this is my reader for Batman #1. But DC is a 1,000 print run minimum on a foil, and they're very reasonably priced. Like that foil there, I think cost me $5.50 each. So that's a $5,500 project just for that one. Now Marvel, I asked them to do for the Lobos, for the Spider-Man, for that one. I said, can we do trade dress, virgin, and then a virgin foil? And the foil for Marvel is $3,000 minimum at $7 a pop. So the foil for that is going to cost me $21,000. Now, one of the reasons people tune in to when I do Whatnot streams is because I give a lot of the inside info on the retailer side. Whereas a lot of retailers I've worked with in the industry, unfortunately, like this is a collectible. This is not a reader copy, right? No one's buying this as a fucking reader copy. It's a $40 foil retail. A lot of retailers won't tell you what their costs are. I never fucking could understand why. Why not? Why not tell people how much? I don't tell them what I pay each individual artist, but I'll give everybody like a ballpark. But I think readers and people that are interested in the industry want to know about that stuff. So if I can give a little bit of a peek into what it takes to run a store that produces retailer exclusives, I'll do that. But I do think it's absurd that Marvel forces retailers to buy 3,000 foils at $7 a pop. So one cover costs $21,000. It's kind of crazy. And this is the only foil that I've been the executive producer on in the last couple years for Marvel because it's just so crazy expensive. I don't even know if I'll make any money on that cover. I mean, it's a long-term seller because I think it's a really iconic image. But, how often are you going to see Spidey with the American flag on the Liberty Bell? Like, never.
It's funny that they say, like, oh, due to the current political climate. You mean the current political climate where, like, over half the country is, like, wildly patriotic right now, where you're seeing, like, American flags and you're seeing, people come together and once again, like, be patriotic and celebrate the country and be proud of the, and hopeful in the direction that it's heading. It's like, you need to get out of the bubble of your little communist collective and look at the larger picture. This is why, it's like we talk about it here and there, but it's like Michael Jordan used to say, Republicans buy shoes too, and they asked him, like, why don't you, go out there and, and say these things. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a businessman. And if these people looked at this as a business, if they hired business people instead of activists, you actually would have, G.I. Joe would be selling great, even better than it is, because you'd be able to capitalize on the wave of patriotism that's sweeping through the country.
You would. And I always say you have way more in common. I tell my kids this all the time. You have way more in common with the guy down the street or our next door neighbor than you do with the rich elites that run and control the whole government. I'm sorry, but that's just true. I don't take my cues from major media outlets. They've been lying to us about every major event in world history probably since World War II. So and they're wrong about everything all the goddamn time. So I would rather it return to like when I was growing up in the 80s. I didn't give two shits what the other kids in my high school or my college or how they voted. I mean, I have way more in common with my neighbor than I do with the people who run these corporations, for sure, and by extension the government. So I'm much more of a unifier type of mentality. I don't want to get involved in all the mudslinging back and forth. I have my views for sure, but I'm far more libertarian than anything else. But I don't care about all that stuff. I want to sell comics to people on the left, people on the right, people in the middle, people who don't give a flying fuck about comics. I don't, that doesn't bother me at all. But I hire people that have opposite political views of me, and we have really good conversations. And at the end of the day, I take them out to lunch. That's how we did it in the 80s. I always used to say we would fight behind the 7-Eleven, fist fight, and we ride our bikes home together afterwards. That's how we resolve conflicts. Today, everybody's butthurt if you drop a comment on social media. They think that you're trying to firebomb their fucking household. I don't understand it.
So if you are interested more inside baseball talk in some of the awesome covers that they're going to have at 616 Comics, there's a link, obviously, not only to the website, but also the Whatnot stream. And you do that once a week, correct?
Yeah, I've done it a little bit less, but yeah, we have shows almost every day now on Whatnot.
Very, very nice. Definitely check that out. Dylan, are you going to recommend any books this week?
Yeah, there's a good amount of books this week. I say a lot of like 7 out of 10 books, but still books I'd say worth your time reading. Also, General Ballsack in the chat said he's going to buy everything I recommended. So we got
like K-pop hunters.
Yeah, not recommending that. Deadly Tales of the Gunslinger, new issue of that. Jimmy Palmiotti Western. It's really fun. I'm enjoying it. We got No Man's Land #1, which was pretty good. It's a Cold War era mystery that I like. The first issue got a pretty good setup. A lot of talking, but it's a good setup. New issue of Battle Beast, really fun. Got some backstory on that planet. G.I. Joe wrapping up the latest arc. It was really good. Enjoyed it a lot. Absolute Flash, something finally happened. No, J.D. Thompson, I do not. This is fake. This is slandering me. New issue Absolute Flash. Flash actually does Flash things. This is one of the better issues of the series so far. I actually liked it. One of the only good issues of the new Nightwing run. Nightwing actually does some Nightwing stuff. I enjoyed it. Incredible Hulk, like the only good ongoing at Marvel. And then lastly, I'll say if your eyes can deal with the coloring, it was a fun Boba Fett story. It's just the coloring was a little rough dealing with that red, white, and black. But
very, very nice. Sully, you'd recommend any books this week?
Yes, I did. I am. I've got 5 floppies that I got from my Funny Book Bodega. I go there every Wednesday and get my new release. I have a pull list, and I also get my supplies at my local comic book shop. I get my boards, my bags, and my boxes there because these brick and mortar, these mom and pop shops, they need our patronage, and we keep each other alive in this. We keep going to the store. We keep buying stuff.
You springing from Mylar, or are you still going with the crappy bags?
I go for the crappy bags, the polypropylene. I got some Mylars, and those are only like really, really special books deserve a Mylar. And but this week I showed it earlier. I got Deadpool Batman 1 because of the Daniel Warren Johnson cover, and I just think it's wonderful. I love this cover. I got New Gods #10 by Ram V. Not enough Evan Cagle art in this, but it's the story. The story elevates the mediocre art. I didn't like the art too much, but it's okay. I think it feels like this is wrapping up. Let's see. I got a variant cover of Hulk #29. This is still a really good book, but my friend Jim Werner of Weird Science Comics kind of called me out. And he was like, yeah, like you can tell the difference between the eldest and the mother of monsters at this point. And I'm like, man, you kind of got a point. So I'm not too thrilled with the variant cover, but I can be sold on a variant cover if it's available. And I got Creep Show from Skybound with because it's a Jeremy Adams story with art by Eduardo Riso. What a great pair! It's a great spooky story. The second story is pretty good too. But I'm a huge Jeremy Adams fan, and I will basically buy anything with his name on it just to support him. And my pick of the week is G.I. Joe number 11. It wraps up the girls' weekend in Paris, the fight between Major Blood and Baroness, and it's got some great story beats with Clutch, Jinx, and Hound. And I love
His name is Risk.
The what?
Clutch, Risk, and Hound.
Yes,
Just
Clutch,
Jinx.
Risk, Jinx. Yeah, I'm sorry, Risk. Sorry, and different character.
Different everything.
But I love the energy, being with Clutch. I mean, that just makes complete sense. And it's a fun book. Stay tuned to it, and I will. Thank you so much. And everyone in the chat, the best chat in the world, showing up every Saturday. Thank you.
And Dylan, so you're writing a comic?
No, I'm not. Someone in the chat was like, I was only half listening. Dylan, you're writing something, so I don't know where that came from. But no, I'm not writing anything.
Dylan, if you ever want to write something, I'll help you. Let me know.
I mean, if I do ever write anything, you'd be the first person I'd reach out to.
I'm hurt. I'm a professional comic book critic. You don't want my opinion?
I mean, once I have it written, I'll reach out to you.
mind.
But I know all the time Aaron like possesses you in the chat and sometimes axes you, so the lines get blurred. But
Dylan is going to be writing the comic adaptation of K-pop Demon Hunters.
yeah, that's what I see in the chat. Yes, I see that all over.
All right, Doc, you recommend any books this week?
Well, let's see here. I am going to recommend. I found a toy while I was traveling. Ollie's in North Carolina. I grabbed one. Sorry, Aaron, I did not get back to another Ollie's while I was on my trip. So, but I got a Luke Cage, and
You just
sweet
made Aaron leave.
Oh, I did. Bummer. All right, and then we will go with, since we were talking about Deadpool earlier, some Joe Kelly Deadpool.
Cool. AF homage.
Yep,
cover.
AF-15 homage. So, then I found these are not terribly amazing comics, but I found they're both newsstand. And I found some newsstand while I was traveling. So I picked them up, and they're getting me a little closer to my newsstand and direct edition complete X-Men. I already have it complete, but now it's time to distinguish more. So that is what I have for you this week.
Well, very, very nice. I hope everyone had a lot of fun. We got lots of football coming up today. We got the Giants versus the Chiefs tomorrow. Blood feud.
Go Giants.
I don't get to recommend anything. I don't get to recommend anything.
No idea. Do you have any books to recommend, Aaron?
I do have some books to recommend. As usual, there's some crossover between Dylan and I. I'm recommending Battle Beast 5. I'm recommending G.I. Joe 11. Was super excited to get that. I love how much Clutch is in that book. I love how much Clutch is in the Energon G.I. Joe book, because Clutch is one of my favorite characters, and I feel like he's being done really well in there. Also going to recommend Creep Show, because Jeremy Adams, that's what got me to pick up the book, and he wrote a good story in there. Ghost Pepper 3 is out. I recommend that. I love Ludo Lulabi's art. It's really, really good. And I've got a dark horse kind of recommendation. Well, actually, a dark cow. Nacelle put out Cowboys of Moo Mesa #1. And, John, you said you're an '80s kid, so obviously you remember that. And it's got really good art by Juan Gedeon, and I really like it. But the thing that I'm really excited about this week,
the toy company?
Yeah, they're doing comics.
Okay.
They've got the license for certain things. But I'm recommending the Monkey Wrench Dreadnought figure, which just arrived. Now I've got him on a Punisher motorcycle. When the Punisher motorcycles went clearance, I counted up how many Dreadnoughts they were eventually going to produce, and I bought one for each of them. So I still have to trick them all out, but there you go. I highly recommend the new classified Monkey Wrench figure.
Well, I'm sorry I missed you, Aaron. I wasn't trying to be mean, but
I did drop out for a second
Yes,
because
you did.
of bad internet. So I'm not mad at you, Wes.
all right. Well, I hope everyone has a great weekend. The Chiefs and the Giants battle to the death, and then Dylan and I can be friends again.
Aw.
And root for the good guys.
Yeah,
Go
go
Giants!
Giants. Yeah.
Go Pats.